Hey, Spuddies, Potato McWhiskey here, and welcome to Stellaris. Stellaris is one of my favorite games of all time. I have like 700, 800 hours in this game, and the only reason I rarely play it on YouTube is that the videos don't tend to do so amazing on terms of the views. But I play this game a lot in my free time, and so when Paradox approached me to do a sponsored video on this, I was like 100%, I'm super excited to try out the new update, the 4.0 Biogenesis. This is like the third time that they have reworked the game from the ground up to build it into something new and amazing. So this video is sponsored. Go ahead and check the link in the description and doodle-a-doo. And yeah, the new 4.0 update is out, as is the new Biogenesis DLC. And I have a build I want to show you guys. Now, I've played a couple times through as this build because I wanted to get to grips with the new mechanics, and I actually have about 4 hours of footage of me playing as this build where I just scrapped the footage because I wasn't happy with how the game went. I was learning too many things in the playthrough, and you know, the Stellaris has that vibe, you want to start over, but this is the empire that I have created. For those of you who aren't familiar with Stellaris, it is a grand strategy 4X real-time strategy game, and this is my faction that I have created from the ground up. This is the Biovorian Squall. I was quite happy with that name. They are the Blood Forest. They are a mutualistic intelligence. They are a devouring wilderness. So essentially, it is a centralized hive mind. We can't research or build robot pops. Non-wilderness pops will be assimilated, enslaved, or purged. We can't do psionic, cybernetic, or synthetic ascension paths. We do get some pretty nice effects. First of all, empire size is reduced, but we do get more empire size from districts and planets. We get more diplomatic weight from our economy, and as our ruler levels up, we will get unity and edicts. If you're a player who doesn't really understand all these things, don't worry about that. It'll all become clear as we play, but if you're an experienced player, you'll kind of know what some of these things mean. Now, we're going to be playing as the Devouring Swarm version of the Blood Forest. That means we do not engage in diplomacy with other players. We cannot access the Galactic market, although we can still trade resources. We have a special casus belli, aka a reason for war, with all other players, which basically means we could just declare war on them to eat them. We will always eat xenopops, or basically any pop that isn't ours. We will gain society research from eating xenopops and biomass from eating xenopops. I believe right now, this is a pre-release version. I don't know if the biomass from eating xenopops is working correctly, but we get a whole bunch of other modifiers as well, right? So our star bases cost less influence, meaning we can expand easier. Our ship hull points are higher. We get hull regen, armor regen, our armies do more damage. We research biology technology faster. Our ships are cheaper. We have more naval capacity. Our legion node gains experience. That's our sort of military commander as part of a hive. And I decided to bring natural neural network because it'll become a lot more obvious later on when we get into the game. Basically, the way the new rework works is that there's this thing called workforce that is generated, and blood forests generate a lot of wood workforce, and they need a lot of minerals and a lot of food. So I thought, if we're going to be generating a lot of minerals and a lot of food, we may as well be getting some good research from that. And the really nice thing is the extra research alternative is going to give us a lot of control over our navigation of the technology tree. We'll explain that a little bit in a moment. And just all really nice things. Now, we are playing the Biovores. These are arthropods. They are hive-minded, which means they are not individuals. We are a wilderness, so we get extra workforce. There's that workforce bonus that I talked about. However, it does mean that we cannot inhabit artificial worlds, ecumenopolises, machine worlds, relic worlds, hive worlds, ring worlds, shattered rings, nanite worlds, or habitats. We can only inhabit natural worlds. We are quarrelsome, so we're not very good at bureaucrat jobs, but I think this is a bit of an exploit because I don't think this type of empire has bureaucrat jobs, so I just took this so that I could get extra points. We're not adaptive, which will suck, but we'll be easily able to overcome with terraforming and a few buffs here or there. This shouldn't be a problem, and it allows us to take the nice combination of very strong, which will make our armies even stronger and give us even more job efficiency for our workers and menial drones, and even more worker pop-out resource output, and we get the agrarian farming job efficiency so that we can crank out tons of society research from our farming jobs. So lots of really cool stuff here. It's a really cool update. So this is the Wilderness Origin. We've also got the evolutionary predators. That's one of the new ones. You've got the Starlit Citadel. These two are new. The rest of these are kind of older and you've been around for a while. Now, the thing that is really awesome about the wilderness is the fact that our planetary build queue capacity is +5. We can build so much stuff at the same time. It's actually insane. But I've more or less covered pretty much all of the things that have to do with this custom faction that we built, with the exception of the fact that we're going to be using the new special biological ship type. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. We've set up the game. We were going to be playing on Grand Admiral, which is the hardest difficulty. We're playing on a huge map in an elliptical, but otherwise default settings. I'm a big fan of the defaults. I'm a default kind of guy, I'm a local guy. Also, the art in the loading screen is just always so beautiful in this game. So our ruler is Eldritch Potato. I sort of had this idea that like the Blood Forest, the seed point of the Blood Forest was this potato that became incredibly old and started sending out evil noodly tendrils. So here is our home world. Now there's a lot of data going on here when you're zoomed in on this map, but really you can kind of like just press E and go out to here, and if you hold down Alt you can see that like the really important piece of data here is that this region makes a lot of resources and it has a planet in it. So like I know there's a lot going on when you zoom in on this level, but a lot of Stellaris can be played from this level where you're kind of like top down. Okay, it makes a little bit of energy, it makes a little bit of minerals, a little bit of science of two different categories. We're fine. Just, don't get too confused. It's fine. You're going to be fine. Now, a few orders of business that we need to take care of. One of the first ones is going to be our technology here. We have 3 areas of technology, and in Stellaris there is a tech tree. I do kind of wish that they would show you that there was a way to like click and reveal the tech tree, but basically there is a tech tree, and every time you research a technology you draw tech options from your tech tree. So you can see here, these are various tech options that we can begin researching. And while I'm playing an incredibly aggressive civilization and it would be good for us to get fusion metabolism, I'm going to grab that +5% research speed because I think that's going to pay itself off relatively quickly because it's our first tech. Also in terms of society, we've got we've got a lot of military techs here that are kind of interesting. It might be good for us to go for evolutionary convergence. We are going to want a lot of unity as this empire. And unity, if you're a Civilization 5 player, unity is a bit like culture, except it's kind of spent a bit more like a resource. But basically, unity is an important resource for a variety of things, and getting more of it might be really useful in the early game. Then again, cheaper ships and like new components, these are all really, really cool stuff, but I'm going to go for the unity here because I want to make as much unity as possible. First of all, we're going to be consuming a lot of unity with our leaders, and we also need that unity in order to fill out our tradition trees, which if you're a Civ 5 player, will be very similar to things like social policies. Now, on the engineering side of things, I am going to be going for geothermal fracking. We need as much minerals as possible. Like, we are going to need so many minerals because we have the ability here, if we go to the management screen of Alaria, our planet here, and we check the decisions, we can spend 4,000 minerals to increase the planet size of our capital world. Currently it's size 20, so we can bring it up to size 25, and later on in the game we'll be able to bring it up to size 30. And every time we increase the size of this planet, we will be able to build another one of these districts, right? You've got communal biomes, which mostly give you housing, which houses your population, but importantly, every time you build a communal biome, it will provide your planet with a benefit based on one of these 2 specializations. Both will apply. So the harmonic core will give us more science and unity, and the threadway will give us more trade power. You could change these and stuff like that, but just note, very, very simple, very high level analysis. Bigger planet better, mineral make bigger planet, therefore mineral good, therefore research more minerals. Very, very simple chain of logic. We want a big planet. Another thing that we're going to want to worry about in this game, because we are playing as a blood forest, is we care about our biomass. Now, biomass is represented as our population. If I come down in here, you can see we have 1,989 pliable biomass. Now, this biomass does cost us a little bit of upkeep. It's a pretty negligible amount of upkeep, honestly, considering a single one of these orchard forests will give us about 15 to 16 food, and that will increase as the game goes on. But this biomass is like a currency. Now, something I recommend if you're playing this blood forest or planetary style is you make sure you prioritize the brood symbiont job. The brood symbiont job is a thing that gives you organic pop growth, and organic pop growth is what you need to grow more drones. Now, biomass is going to be one of those limits that we need to get as much biomass as possible. It is going to be a huge limiting factor in our ability to expand our economy. We need biomass to settle planets. We need it to improve our planets. We just need biomass. And one of the ways that we can get biomass, it's pretty much the only way, is by building a cradle of rebirth. Now, this will give us 100 brood symbiont jobs, which will produce 2 base biomass per month, which means it takes about 20 years for one of these to pay themselves off. So we need to get these built early. Now, they're going to cost 7 food per month, but we do get a bunch of biomass in return. So that's going to use up all of our food, all of our stuff early in the game. Oh, we have a lovely savanna world in the gravity well adjacent to our home system. It looks like we're in the southeastern portion of the galaxy. So we're going to look to try and take over this quadrant if we can. So let's go ahead and survey Grommen here so that we can get a hold of that savanna world relatively early into the game. We are not going to need much energy early. So I'm going to sell 30 energy, which will then be converted into trade value. And then this trade value, I'll be able to convert it into food and minerals. So I'm going to buy 20 minerals per month and 20 food per month. And I will also sell 5 alloys per month because we're not going to need a huge amount of alloys in the early game. And this is just a way for me to rebalance my economy through trade. It's a relatively inefficient way to rebalance our economy, but it's fine. And just to kind of set out the general goal, our goal is to ultimately get a bunch of minerals to increase the size of the planet, to get just enough energy to keep our society going, to get as much food as possible because we're going to need a lot of it, and to, generally speaking, improve our planet. So we're going to go ahead and set speed to maximum and unpause, and we shall check in every time something interesting happens. Basically, the way that time works in Stellaris is imagine each year like a turn that's broken up into 12 monthly ticks. If you're used to turn-based games, basically every month income is calculated, but the month is broken up into 30-day chunks, which, other events can happen. Like if you move a fleet, that can happen on non-monthly ticks, right? It might take 45 days to get here rather than 2 months. But effectively, every year, or think of each month like a turn. That's when you get your income. And the big goal we have in the early game is to get as many of these cradles of rebirth as possible. Because each cradle of rebirth is going to give us, if we look at this tooltip here, you can see there it says bonus growth, spawning drone plus 1.99. That is how much extra growth we are getting every month due to those spawning drones. And that extra growth is going towards the biomass. Now, because we are building these cradles of rebirth, we're not going to have any trouble from amenities. I believe these guys actually produce amenities, the brood symbionts. So the avatar cradle is not necessary. We're going to go ahead and replace that. Oh wait, it can be upgraded? Oh wow. 20% choir symbiont output. That is something for us to consider. We may specialize our second planet towards unity output, but our first planet will be specialized towards biomass for sure. Let's replace another cradle of rebirth. That's perfect. Now, we spent a lot of biomass there, but we're going to get that biomass back over the next 20 years, which is a few hundred turns, right? If you imagine 20 years is a decent number, is a decent amount of time. Now, our council here of the Biovorian Squall is made up of, because we're a hive mind, we have a leader, the Eldritch Potato, and we have these nodes. Think of these as like aspects of our hive mind. We have the regulatory node, which lowers deviancy. Think of this as like your policeman. He also has a bonus here that means we build our ships faster. Then we have our cognitive node. Think of this as your research leader. Every time this node levels up, we get a 2% research speed boost. It gives stability and amenities, not particularly amazing. Then the Eldritch Potato is giving us the hum of stability and the wilderness, so he is immortal. And every time our leader levels up, we'll get unity and edict. The growth node, think of this as like your economic leader. Every time it levels up, we will get a faster population growth, particularly organic population growth assembly. And this one gives us council agenda speed. Agendas are this thing down here, which is what this alert is. This is going to give us a boost to our amenities in the early game, but what we really want is finding the voice here, which is going to give us a huge boost to our early game unity. That's definitely what we want. Now, the Legion node here will lower our edict upkeep and give us more edict fund. We'll talk about edicts a little bit later, but mostly this guy just gives us a little bit of influence, and influence is used for a variety of things, mostly to do with expanding your empire. But of course, because of our special designation as a devouring blood forest, we don't actually need to claim other people's land command to take it over. We can just take it over. And now we get to pick our first tradition, but rather than picking our first tradition, I'm actually going to spend that unity on something else. I'm going to come over here to our station, and in the shipyard, I'm going to build myself 2 more science ships, because if we go to the leader screen here, F5, we can have up to 3 scientists, which means we could have 3 scientists exploring the galaxy for us, because you need a science vessel in order to explore. I'm also going to switch over a Lar station from having a solar panel network, which we don't particularly need, and I'm going to switch it over to building another shipyard so that we can build up our fleets a little bit faster. Our second science ship is now ready, and we can recruit ourselves a little scientist. And there's a variety of traits here, like this guy is, oh wow, this guy is actually really, really good. Not only will he live an extra 20 years, and remember, our leaders will live up to 80 years by default. This guy will now live up to at least 100, assuming he doesn't get killed by any, outside circumstances. But he has the 20% experience gain and the extra 20 years. So he will, not only will he be around longer, he will level up faster. I'm going to go ahead and automate him to explore, and he will gain experience as he explores. You can see this scientist over here has already gained a little bit of experience just from exploring this one little zone. We found the Voltaum precursors, which is very exciting. This is going to be in our situation log. Basically, if we find 6 Voltaum artifacts, we might be able to find the Voltaum homeworld, and the Voltaum homeworld will be providing us with a bunch of rewards. I, for the longest time, thought that this was a spaceship, and I did not realize that it was like a space-suited hand doing archaeology. I thought this was a spaceship flying over a city. That is absolutely not what it is. Our third science ship is completed, and now we can choose between a survey speed or a leader experience gain. The survey speed is going to be useful. It'll speed up the rate at which we explore, so I'm going to go ahead and recruit that guy, and I will make him explore and survey. And I'm an auto explorer. I'm kind of lazy when it comes to that. I like to play Stellaris like I'm tending to a garden rather than I'm like micromanaging every single tiny possible thing. Now, we have 1,000 minerals in the bank, which means we can replace this threadway. Now, the threadway is giving us a bunch of trade value. It's giving us 300 trade jobs from this because it's 3 times 100, which is basically 3 trade jobs if you were familiar with the game before, and an extra 100 from here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and replace this district specialization with a molt gut, which will cover our alloys needs, which will then allow me to replace this smelting pool with a cradle of rebirth, meaning we're going to be making a ton of biomass in the home world here that we can use to expand. We're already up to 9 biomass per month, which is a really, really good amount. And now the big focus of my empire is going to be building these hollow mountains, because we can use these minerals to expand the planet and also improve it. We have explored Grommen, and I have my construction ship in position in order to build a starbase. Building a starbase costs us 175 food, 37 influence, and 50 alloys. You could kind of see why we wanted to keep those alloys around. I'm now going to set this leader on an auto explore mission, and he will go and explore the galaxy for us, learning more about our local region. Now that we have recruited 3 leaders, or rather, we've recruited 2 scientists. Now I feel safe going for our traditions. And one of the tradition, this is my favorite tradition in the entire game, and it's all for a very, very simple reason. First of all, you get that 10% pop growth. I love that so much. The second thing here is you also get max districts +1, which is incredible when you're playing as a sentient planet, because it basically just means all of your planets are +1 size bigger. And I love building huge planets. There's a couple of other nice things here, like it's cheaper to expand, which is already incredible when we already have a huge discount to our expansion. Our star bases cost less upkeep. We get less empire size. Empire size is sort of a modifier that the more empire size you have, the more expensive your technology and your traditions are. Think of this as like a sort of a counterweight to unchecked growth. So having things that reduce your empire size makes you more efficient from a technology and unity point of view. So a little bit of empire size reduction is nice, in particular because we're playing a faction that has a huge penalty to colony size. So colonies for us cost 3 times as much. This would make them only cost 3.7 or 2.75 times as much, which doesn't sound like a huge amount, but with the multiplicative bonuses that we'll be able to accumulate later, is actually quite decent. But also, 25% terraforming speed and 20% starbase upkeep, and then another 20% starbase upkeep. Starbases, by the way, I'm just going to take this, by the way, right now. Starbases are these things. If I zoom in, you can see around this planet, we've got this starbase right here. Now, this has an upkeep of 5 energy per month. You can see that in the energy credits. So that's going to save us a chunk of that. It's going to save us 1 energy per month. And when we build a starbase around this, I believe it costs 1 energy per month. And that's why I'm a big fan of the expansionist tree. Okay, we got control of Grommen, and we could colonize this immediately. I think I'm going to focus on building up my capital world before we colonize, because I have a few things I want to build in here. I want to optimize how many resources I'm getting from my capital before I expand. Eldritch Potato has leveled up. We could go for another level of humble stability, which would just give us plus 2 more stability. And stability is one of those abilities that will just straight up increase the resources you get from a planet. So this would be an empire-wide resource boost. It's not a huge amount of resources, but it would be nice. Alternatively, I could increase the ship construction speed, we could get more minerals, or we could get stability and amenities. I'm going to go for the plus 2 stability. Again, it's not a huge amount of resources, but it does add up over the course of the game. It's going to make us just that little bit more efficient. One of our scientists have leveled up. I am a really big fan of either meticulous or quick. I like the anomaly research speed. I like the anomaly discovery chance. I'm going to go for the anomaly discovery chance because that means we'll have more anomalies to research. Now, our planet has hit its limit in terms of the number of districts that it can build. And so we're going to want to come in here and delete these scorched plains. These scorched plains are going to cost 900 energy to remove, but they are blocking 2 districts in this planet, which effectively is lowering the size of this planet by 2. And remember, bigger planet is better, so we want to make the planet bigger. In the meantime, I'll use my construction ship to go grab some of these stations and stuff that are hanging around. Perfect. We've increased the size of the planet by plus 2 with that wilderness being finished, and that means we'll be able to get ourselves 2 more hollow mountains for an extra 20 minerals per month and a little bit of economic research. We need so many minerals so that we can start increasing the size of our planets and cranking out insane amounts of resources. I'm going to grab Mind of Many Worlds. This is going to give us a free random district when we colonize a world, which is awesome. And it'll get us 1 step away from getting that 10% population growth speed, which will get us a lot more biomass. I just have so much fun when I play Stellaris. It's a really, really just nice game to play by vibes. It's a very, very vibesy game. Now, we have made contact with some enigmatic spacefarers. Looks like these are space amoebas, and they have threatened our little science vessel. I'm going to send my science vessel over here. Whatever, he got caught and kicked out of the system. It's fine. Since we have found some aliens, we're going to be able to make use of the first contact system. Basically, we assign an envoy to this, and then they will try to discover something about these guys. Basically, every month, or every certain amount of time, they will roll a dice and increase their insights until we figure out what it is that we are up against these aliens. I happen to know that we'll just get a space amoeba event and it'll be fine. Now, I do believe it's time for us to colonize the Savannah world. We delayed a little bit, but that's okay. And we get a event here. Grommen 3 awakens. Our terraforming spores have fulfilled their purpose, delivering part of ourselves to colonize an alien world for the first time. So we will get a boost of our research here. We begin adapting and colonizing a new planet, becoming an interplanetary hive mind, a wilderness ready to infest and ingest the universe. I'm essentially a brethren moon from that one game. Oh my god, why can't I remember what it was called? Dead Space? Dad Space. Okay, so Lombidus over here looks like it would be a good place for us to build a starbase. I'll send a construction ship out that way. And this science ship has been kicked back to the place. Lishmi Kakonki, who is the official governing Alaria, has leveled up. He has adaptable, so he does level up a little bit quicker. Planetary infrastructure upkeep and build speed is not bad, honestly. And I don't particularly plan to make a lot of unity from my capital, so we will go for the efficient builder. Oh, lovely. We've got another Savannah world over here in Gelly. We will be growing that way. We don't necessarily want to rush to settle like you would maybe in previous versions of Stellaris. We want to be chill. We want to take our time. We want to get control of the situation. Another one of our scientists has leveled up. I could get them increased survey speed or more anomaly discovery chance. I'm a huge fan of anomaly discovery chance. I love finding lots of anomalies, so I think I'll go for that. Perfect. So we've unlocked geothermal fracking. That's going to give us a 20% mineral boost from our jobs. It unlocks buildings, but it's not super important. Oh my god, we found, this is like really early to find this. Mineral purification is going to allow us to specialize our mining districts, which is going to give us an unholy amount of minerals. So this is incredible. We're going to go ahead and grab that immediately. We just need to hold on to our biomass. Perfect. Let's grab ourselves that 10% population growth speed. Now that we have enough unity for it, that's going to mean that we get more biomass more quickly. We also just finished researching evolutionary convergence. That should mean if we go to our government, we'll have a bunch of new edicts to play around with. Nothing that I think we need to enact at the moment. Oh yes, this would be amazing. If we could get extra food from our polynosymbionts, that's going to make our our economy. Remember, the more efficient our economy is, the sort of tighter a ship we can run, the more we can get away with. Our military commander has leveled up. Now, he does have the cautious trait, which gives him a higher combat disengagement chance, which means he'll lose less ships. We could take unyielding, which would lower his combat disengagement chance, or we could take automated repair system so they heal faster. I kind of like the automated repair system. Being able to heal faster is kind of fun. Awesome, we have finished colonizing Grommen 3. Now, early game, there's a kind of a few key areas that you want to have covered. One of them is base resource production. One of them is research, and one of them is Unity. This planet right here, I think would make a great research world. It has a really, really high number of hollow mountains, and research jobs, which are these ones, they require a significant amount of minerals to maintain. So if I were to specialize this as a think stem, we could start cranking out a lot of tech from this planet. And then if we were to designate this world as a cogitation world, we would get cheaper upkeep, meaning we would spend less minerals for the total amount of science that we're getting out here. So I kind of like the idea of specializing this towards a think stem. I think that's what we will do. We're going to need at least one district of each type of the baseline here just to maintain these cities. If you're not maintaining a city, or rather a planet, it does take some trade resources to upkeep. Now that I'm making a lot more minerals, I'm going to stop buying as many minerals so that we start getting a small surplus of trade. This alien fleet has about 700 military power, so it would probably be a good idea if I were to build up a fleet capable of dealing with that. That's going to cost us a significant amount of resources, but I will do the reinforcements now so that we can just deal with this, because they're causing problems for our expansion and our exploration, and it's really annoying. We got a new technology. We have got that plus 5% research speed. That is going to pay off over the long term. Yes, more resources from our base populations. This is just, again, this just means we need less of these bottom line districts. If we need less of these, we can have more of these ones, and these ones up here produce some really important resources like alloys, which are used to maintain, sustain, and construct military buildings, military ships, everything. I think it is good if we have at least one cradle of rebirth on every planet, so I'm going to build a cradle of rebirth here on Grommen 3, just so that we make a little bit of biomass here, rather than relying on the natural biomass growth. I think it is good to have a base level of biomass. We have enough Unity to get our next tradition. We're going to go for that 10% starbase influence cost. It's going to make it cheaper for us to expand in terms of influence, leaving a lot more influence for other things. Now it only costs us 30 influence to claim Gelly here, which will be containing another planet that we want to get control of. We have discovered what the space amoebas are, and we're going to grab ourselves a 33% damage increase to those space amoebas, and we'll get 1,000 energy every time we kill one of their fleets, which is perfect. And so now that we have that, we are going to go ahead and zip in here and go fight them with our fleet. I'm going to recruit myself a second construction ship so that I can expand to these tiles a little bit faster, grab these nice planets. And it looks like combat is about to unfold. So something interesting about our ships is we have these Weaver classes, which are kind of support ships. They have these shard accelerators that attack from a decent range. They also have these energy bursters, which increase the evasion and speed of allied ships, and the vector lock cannons, which lower the evasion and speed of enemy ships. Then we also have the Mauler class, which is kind of like a combat mandible that gets right up close to people. It has a range of 0 to 10 and just nibbles upon them, while also having a small shard accelerator. So if we kind of slow the battle down to a normal speed, you can see these small little ships here, these are the flagella, sort of strike craft being launched from this amoeba. And you can see my ships are firing, and then as they get really close, they should look to start nibbling upon him. Yes, destroy him. I mean, the battle is going well for us. We're about to win. We did lose a ship, which sucks, but we managed to gain a bit of experience, which is always nice. Let's go ahead and send you home to heal. I believe you will heal over time. There's also this new system in the game called the Empire Timeline and Empire Tasks. And basically this provides a little bit of guidance to new players. Like right now, the game wants me to hire an official. So if I go to Grommen 3 and I hire myself a official, let's scroll down here. Let's see, this guy will live 20, this guy will get 20% more experience. Let's hire the 20% more experienced guy. Boosh. Now that will complete, if I go to the government, is it Empire? Yeah, Empire Focus. So that should complete the official ability, which will give me 10 points towards development. When I complete one of these things, I will get a special research option. And basically this just helps guide new players through the game. It's a new system in the 4.0 update. I think it's quite cute. It's quite useful. It's quite good. It's just nice. That's what a lot of the new stuff is. It's just really, really nice stuff that's very welcome. Okay, brilliant. So in Grommen 3, we're seeing a lot of growth. So I'm going to grab myself a couple more districts, mostly hollow mountains and a little bit of orchard forest so that we can pump up our minerals so that we can start using the expand planet size abilities. And I've actually decided to change my mind with how I'm going to be doing Grommen 3. I think I am going to go for more Cradles of Rebirth because I think the amount of biomass that we generate is very, very important for our long-term Imperial ambitions. So I think heavily focusing on biomass expansion is going to be important, at least for these first two worlds. This third world I'm going to optimize for unity generation because high unity generation is going to play into our long-term strategy. Awesome. We're going to launch this unity agenda that's going to give us a little bit of a boost to our early game unity. It's going to be really nice. And then we can pick a new agenda. Let's see. Removes negative traits. We'll just go for superior sproutlings. This will give us better terraforming speed, which would be nice for colonizing these planets. And so mostly what we're waiting for is grabbing these Cradles of Rebirth. Oh my goodness. One of our science ships just got eaten by the matriarch, a giant Tianki space whale, I believe. Yeah, the Tianki matriarch. Let's go ahead and begin investigating that first contact. We'll also investigate this first contact over here. Now remember, we are a hyper aggressive faction, so we want to kill everyone on the world. Now unfortunately one of our scientists were killed, so we're going to have to recruit a new science vessel, but that is what it is. It happens. We are but motes of dust in the face of these leviathans. All right, I'm going to sell off a chunk of minerals here so that we can buy some food, and that food, just rebalancing my economy slightly here. I will take a scientist that has a longer lifespan and I will set him to auto explore. Let's begin expanding Grommen 3. It cost us 3,000 minerals and a year of time for us to give it +1 size. We shall build ourselves another Cradle of Rebirth. I like to have a little bit of biomass headroom before I do this, so I'm going to chill for a month or two before I build this, because if you go to 0 biomass, it doesn't feel good. We have researched eco simulation, which is going to give us a huge boost of food, which is excellent. And now we can research a new thing. Planetary root complex. This would allow us to upgrade our planets. It would cost us 200 biomass. It would be a significant upgrade to our planets. Terrestrial sculpting would be amazing because it would allow us to actually expand to new worlds. So I'm definitely going to grab myself terrestrial sculpting. It will allow us to expand, for example, to this continental world. It will be a hugely expensive endeavor in terms of biomass, but it will be absolutely worth it. We're going to grab ourselves the empire size reduction from the expansion tree here. Right now we're taking a 16% penalty due to our empire size, so if we grab this, it will pop down to a 15%. It's not much, but it is a little bit of a benefit, and that adds up and it's helpful. Continuing to expand and build up our space. You can see we're getting a lot of yields all from all these different tiles. It's just a little trickle of energy and minerals, which is not a huge amount when you compare to what we're extracting from our planets, but it does add up and it's helpful. And the systems, like, they don't cost us much in terms of empire size, so they will eventually just pay themselves off and make our overall economy more efficient. So I like expanding. We have researched field modulation, which is going to give us more energy, which is excellent. We're going to start a new research now. Yes, energy generation. We'll be able to specialize our energy districts, which will make our energy districts even more efficient. These are all fantastic things. Let's go for it. It looks like we have found another civilization. If I zoom in here, these are likely going to be one of the first people that we go to war with. We're not really ready for a war. I am going to go ahead and grab myself a Cradle of Rebirth. Now remember, this does take 20 years to pay off. And in fact, it's going to take more than 20 years to pay off because we're on a planet with lower habitability. Lower habitability will lower the rate at which growth happens. So it will be tough, but it will eventually pay itself off. We got the mining subsidies. Yes, so now we have mining subsidies. We can spend money, energy credits, to increase the amount of minerals that our grub symbionts make. We also have lithic macerators, which is again just going to increase the amount of minerals that we make. We have mineral extraction. This is a new specialization that we'll be able to build. And since we have now discovered somebody who we may want to be going to war with, I think it would be a good idea for us to start upgrading our military technology. For example, the Ceramokite and Carapace here. If we are able to build this, we'll get a nice boost to the ship hull and armor hit points. We'll go ahead and start researching this new biological piece of equipment. I'm going to take this opportunity to upgrade our starport in here. And I'm going to upgrade the size of our capital so that we could build another one of these communal biomes. I'm going to replace this photosynthesis field with an orchard forest because we don't need quite as much energy. We have a new tradition. We'll be able to finish the expansion tradition, grabbing ourselves even less starbase upkeep. You can see we're spending 11.2 on starbases right now. If we grab this, it will now only cost us 8.4. And that will continue to benefit us for the rest of the game. We also now have +1 maximum districts on all of our planets, and more importantly, I'm going to be able to take my favorite Ascension perk in the entire game, the capstone ability, Mastery of Nature. This is going to make it cheaper for us to clear blockers. Blockers are things that lower the size of your planet. It's going to give us +2 maximum districts and extra maximum resources from planetary features if we run the Mastery of Nature. Now, since we are playing a build that has a ton of excess influence, running Mastery of Nature here is very cheap for us. 2,000 energy, 100 influence, and +2 max districts. Essentially what that does is adds +2 to the planet's size, which is incredible. On top of the fact that we already got +1 planet size. It's very important that we max out our orchard forests because they provide us with society research and food is going to be very, very important for us for maintaining our fleets. I believe if I hover over here, you can see my ships are eating 13.38 food per month. That is going to start to skyrocket as we build larger fleets and more advanced fleets. So that's something that we need to sort of stay on top of, really. In Gelly, because I do plan to put a planet here eventually, I'm also going to upgrade a starbase here so that I'll be able to produce a ton of ships. We're working on increasing our resource production, but now we need to work on increasing our resource conversion, the ability for us to turn resources into other resources. Oh, so we get a new technology option and some free progress towards it. Very cool. And it looks like we have found the Tiyanki graveyard over here in Ublion. Now, since I've encountered another civilization, I am going to stop expanding because we are preparing for war. My scientist has leveled up. For this guy, I'm going to take the anomaly research speed. I'm going to complete that on him. And then I'm going to change his automation settings. I'm going to tell him to investigate anomalies. So he's going to spend his time investigating anomalies for us. We discovered a primitive civilization somewhere. That's fine. You find these guys around here in Dabe, for example. All right, continue to increase the size of Alaria. The bigger that Alaria is, the more of these districts that we can have. Right now, we're concerned with getting our communal biomes bigger because that's going to give us more alloys as well as a little bit more research. But it's really the alloys that we need, so we're going to focus on getting the communal biomes up. That'll allow us to convert more minerals into more alloys. Alloys being one of the key resources that we need in order to build fleets. I'm building up my shipyards, although we're low on alloys. I'm going to stop selling alloys. In fact, I'm going to stop all trade altogether because I don't need to rely on trade anymore. My official that is governing Grommen 3 has leveled up. Efficient Builder is a decent one. Mindfulness is actually really good. Let me have a look at what we have in terms of recruitable. Yeah, I'm going to go for Mindfulness because I plan on building a Unity planet here in a moment on Gelly. I'm going to build a starport over here in Menkalinan as we're going to be entering into a period of Cold War while we do a few things to prepare for this war. See, our capital world is already up to size 21 and it will soon be size 22. It even has an extra 2 districts here. There it is, size 22. We should be able to increase its size once again. And so with the completion of these communal biomes, we're going to get a bunch more jobs. I do think that with the current patch is really, really cool. I do think there needs to be a few more passes on the UI, but I think on a fundamental, how the game feels to play, I think they're in a pretty good place. I'm going to increase the size of this planet with a Mastery of Nature as well. And I'm going to colonize Gelly 3 using 500 biomass so that we can begin building our Unity world. Oh, we got a specimen, ancient mining transmitter. Now, that specimen should allow us. Oh, we found a fanatical purifier, the Churk Eradicator. I will like to build the Grand Archive at some point. We sense our prey. Hello. So these guys are over here. We will eventually have to go to war with them. I'm going to go ahead and send a spy there to keep an eye on them because these guys are going to be a big threat. They are fanatical purifiers like us, so it's going to be interesting to have to fight them. I'm going to capture this planet right here so that we can use it as a fortress against the Churk Eradicators. We have this nice choke point here with a planet and this choke point here with a planet. So we can take our time and just get ourselves into position in preparation. I'm going to replace this photosynthesis field with a orchard forest, and I'm going to increase the specialization of the Hollow Mountains because what this will do is effectively double the amount of jobs that we get from Hollow Mountains, or increase by 50%. Normally building a Hollow Mountain will give us 2 grub symbiont jobs. Now by specializing it with an ore spine, it will actually give us 3. And that'll increase It'll increase the efficiency. Basically, we will need less of those to get the same amount of minerals, which increases the efficiency of our overall economy. Now that we've completed expansion, we get to select our next tradition tree. Some tradition trees that I'm a really big fan of. I'm a really big fan of adaptability. Plus 10% habitability means if we do conquer any planets, we'll have an easier time doing things. The extra districts, +1 planet size when we're playing as a world, as planets is pretty cool, right? Terraforming speed means we settle and convert planets faster. You've got strategic resource discounts as well as defense. You take less orbital bombing. You get better colony designation, which is nice when we decide to go for the Ascension direction, because we will be going for an Ascensionist style playthrough. Our planets are going to be very important, so I think we want to be going for the synchronicity so that we get 25% colony ascension effects. That's going to be really, really strong. So I'm going to grab myself adaptability here because it does everything that I like. 10% construction time doesn't sound like a huge amount, but it is really useful. So let's get 2 more orchard forests on Gromman 3 and another hollow mountain. We're trying to get a lot of food. We're going to need a lot of that food. It'll make sense when we become the crisis. I've been diplomatically insulted by these fanatic purifiers. We do have our new planet. Now, I'm going to build myself a single cradle of rebirth here just to support the population growth. The population is growing incredibly slowly on here, so a single cradle of rebirth will allow me to make a very nice specialized planet. And this planet will be specialized in the Singing Cliffs format. We're also going to want to Mastery of Nature to expand it, and it would be good for us to get a leader. In fact, I may reassign this guy who has Unity from jobs over there and then recruit a new leader for Gromman 3. Oh, this official is nice. He's level 2 and he already has the 20% leader experience gain, which is quite nice. I could also give him resilience so he would live longer. That's a nice combination. So not only will he level faster, he will live longer, providing his benefits for a longer period of time. And you can see his baseline ability as a sector governor gives a small boost to the planet's effects. Now, I need to start doing a little bit of calculation in my head. I think the most important thing is for me to save my biomass for upgrading Geli 3 here. There's Ceramokite Carapace, so our ships are now better. We are also going to unlock the Biocoil Shard Accelerator, increasing the offensive capabilities of our ships. We're going to want our fleets to be as efficient and as powerful as possible. My technology is very, very weak, so I'm going to spend a little bit of biomass. It's a 100 biomass per research growth on Gromman 3, but I think that is worth it to get the extra science output. So all 3 of these research growths just finished, which should result in us having slightly higher science output on this planet. What we really want to do, however, is to build these communal biomes, because every time I build a communal biome which does not take biomass, I will get more research jobs. Let's specialize these hollow mountains, because again, that means we will need less of them to sustain these research jobs, meaning we can convert more of these districts into communal biomes to optimize the amount of science we're getting. Awesome. There is capacity subsidies, so now we can specialize our energy districts, meaning we need less of them. Let's go ahead and upgrade our shield technology, and immediately we will begin improving our solar myco lungs, because this is all our goal, is to just make our economy as efficient as possible. Now let's make a tendril cradle in here. Not a tendril cradle, sorry. I wanted to make a avatar cradle. I wanted to experiment with something. One of our science ships were seized, which is unfortunate. I will recruit a new science ship because it's always good to have a few of them. This new science ship, I'm going to go ahead and tell him to enter orbit. Wait, do I not have the ability to assist research yet? I'll just fully automate him and let him do whatever he wants. So this enemy is superior to us. They have an inferior economy, but they are superior in fleet power. Let's make sure that we build a gun battery station with a communications jammer on the front line here. That will provide us with the defenses that we need to potentially weather a difficult combat storm. We'll also probably want to build some defensive platforms around this station. But basically, we're just trying to buy time until we can become unstoppable. These photosynthesis fields are not as necessary, so we will cut them down. So if I upgrade this building, do we actually get a 20% boost to the Choir Symbiont output? That is something that I'm curious about. Our cognitive node has leveled up. Archaeology skill, we're not particularly finding important. Yeah, none of these are particularly good for us. I'm going to go for the expertise on Voidcraft. That might be useful. And our Legion node has leveled up. Naval capacity could be very useful. Combat knowledge. But yeah, I think we need that naval capacity. That'll allow us to have bigger fleets. Our Biocoil Shard Accelerator has been finished researching. Let's grab ourselves afterburners. That'll improve the combat capabilities of our fleets. So now I'm wondering, do these avatar chambers stack? Because if the avatar chambers stack, then that's quite powerful. So it does seem like we're getting a 20% boost to our Acquire Symbiont output. And if these avatar chambers stack, then it'll be incredibly powerful for us. We found another hive mind over here in the east. Thankfully, we don't have a border with them, so we don't need to worry about them. No, so it looks like you can only have one avatar chamber on a planet. And that is really useful to know. Now, the question here is, how do we want to proceed with this knowledge? Do we want to fill these extra 3 locations with more cradles of rebirth so that we can pump more biomass? Or do we want to fill them with the commensal clearings, which only cost 100 biomass, but would get us an extra 6 unity, which would then get boosted, yada, 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 yada. If we also designate this planet as a tranquil world, we would get an extra 10% output and minus 10% upkeep. And I kind of like the idea of just making this an absolute unity monster. So I'm going to build all the commensal clearings that I can. And when these finish, I'll build just enough districts to cover the maintenance costs and then continue to level up these communal biomes. Our dear leader has leveled up. We could go for an architectural focus, which would increase our infrastructure build speed, lower our costs. Cost reductions are very nice. Resources from jobs is really nice too. I think I'm going to take that resources from jobs because that just means the more... It means we're getting more stuff out of the jobs that we have. And that is something that would make me very, very happy. We have a little bit of an energy deficit here. We could handle that by building a chloroplast acclimator at the expenditure of biomass rather than using a district. And I do kind of like that as an idea. Oh, we could upgrade these commensal clearings to another tier to get even more unity out of them. I mean, my goal was to build a monstrous unity world. I think we're well on our way to achieve that goal. Now, one of the things that's hurting my economy is if we pop in here, you can see I'm only getting 70% on some of these jobs. If we take a look at the brood symbionts, for example, I'm only getting about 80% of the total value here. If we go to adaptability and we take the habitability buff, if I unpause, you'll see that will jump up to 462. So by increasing our habitability, we've actually increased the efficiency of our economy on planets that aren't our home world. And that's very, very important. There we go. We have terrestrial sculpting, and that should allow us to colonize these worlds. Now, it's going to cost us a lot of biomass. 2,500 biomass to be exact. I definitely want to get food processing. This is going to be a massive efficiency boost for our economy. It's really hard to understate or overstate rather how important those are for our economy. Yeah, we've got maxed out influence because we stopped expanding relatively early into the game. And so now in our capital, we no longer need this harmonic core. This was maintaining our science and our unity, but now that we have a science world and we have a unity world, we can turn this into a military district, the command bulb. This is going to allow us to massively increase our fleet capacity. There is a method to the madness, I promise. We've gained afterburners. Let's start a new research. I'm going to go for the menial drone pop output. That's going to increase the efficiency of our economy even more. It's all about efficiency. The more efficiency that you can squeeze out of your planets, the better. Now, speaking of efficiency, we need to increase the unity efficiency of these planets. So I'm going to start upgrading these commensal groves. It's going to use up pretty much all of our biomass, but the unity production will skyrocket as well. And then we'll be able to expand the planet size so that it can sustain itself. Okay, we've maxed out our food. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into fleet management. I'm going to design a defense platform. I'm going to use medium station sections because the Biocoil Shard Accelerators have decent accuracy, decent tracking, decent range, decent DPS. They're fine. So using a combination of these two weapons will give us a pretty balanced attack pattern. We'll do a little bit of extra damage to shields. We have a little bit of extra armor and hull damage, and then we can customize it so that we have more stats. So now these things will do 25 damage per day. We're going to save that. I'm going to turn off auto ship generation. This is not an amazing battle platform, but it will do the job. It will give us local fleet superiority. That is important. So we're going to spend some food and some alloys on maxing out our defense platforms at our choke points. This will give us time to build up our military. That's what we need. What we need is time. So we found some xenophobic isolationists. Let's put a spy in here. One of these two empires is going to be our first target, and it might be these guys because they look a little bit easier to attack. They've only got one planet. Ryanair here. It looked like Ryanair for a second. I was like, hold on. What's going on there? So Geli 3 is now cranking out 121 Unity per month. That is a very, very chunky amount of Unity. I'm going to sell off a big chunk of food here because we have a huge surplus. We'll just convert it into trade value. Think of this as like a bank. We can always dip into that and pull resources out of our trade resources. I'm going to replace one of these photosynthesis fields with an orchard forest in Alaria, our capital. We want to max out these orchard forests. It's very, very important. We do not have a whole lot of spare biomass. We spent a lot of biomass getting this tranquil world up and running, and it is cranking out resources for us, which is going to be great. It'll mean we have very, very strong Unity gain. We're going to want to do something similar over here in our research planet. I'm going to go ahead and switch you to a cogitation world. That'll lower the upkeep cost. It's a relatively small planet. We are going to want to expand it. So I will start that process, and we'll also spend the biomass to upgrade these research growths as well. Yeah, spending too much biomass all at once can hurt your jobs. I would definitely want this maximum districts. That's going to be +1 district on each world. Better shields have been researched. Would be nice to get a better blue beam projector. I think it would also be really good if we increase the power generation on our ships. That's going to make our ships better overall. So we're going to grab that. Cool, all this juicy land that we could expand into. I'm really looking forward to that. Our growth node has leveled up. Cheaper buildings is actually pretty decent here, so I'll grab that architectural focus. The regulatory node has leveled up as well. +1 envoy is really useful, so we'll take that because it means we could be able to do, we're currently spying on 2 people, and now we'll also be able to do first contacts to discover more about the world while we spy on our neighbors. Planet has a slight energy deficit, so I'll grab myself a chloroplast acclimator. It's a way for me to turn biomass into slightly more energy efficiency. There's agricultural focus. That's huge. We'll be able to increase the efficiency of our entire empire now. Ecological adaptation is going to be a very important technology for us to get, but 200 months is a long time when we're about to go to war. We do have 3 deep sinkholes on our colonies, which would allow us to increase the quality of our planets, and we're all about building up the quality of our planets. We don't need that naval capacity because we have a way to increase our naval capacity. I'm going to go for the tile blockers because it's going to be a fast tech to grab. So the way I wanted you to think about the choice between, on this cogitation world, building one of these bottom line districts or building this communal biome is that eventually when we have colonial centralization, we will get when we build a photosynthesis field, we get 2.4 research per photosynthesis field. We get that same amount of research every time we build a communal biome, but we get it for each of these categories. So we'll also get the research from here, we'll get the research from here. And so basically, by choosing to build communal biomes on this planet, we produce less of these raw resources, but more of these higher tier tech resources. And so that's kind of like, that is the decision that we are making. There's powered exoskeletons, so that's going to increase our resource output. We definitely want better engines for our ships. That's going to increase their combat capabilities. We're going to upgrade our farm specializations across all of our worlds. Again, this will increase our efficiency, meaning we can crank out more with less jobs, with less districts dedicated. Now, let's head over to the fleet designer and we're going to design our maulers. The juvenile version is going to have some combat mandibles alongside a small bioshard accelerator. We're going to use balanced selection of shields and armor alongside a reactor booster. I have no changes that I need to make to this. On the Weaver class, I think it's pretty much going to be the exact same, except I may want to put a red beam accelerator on it. Now, you know what? I think these don't need to be upgraded just yet. So we're going to upgrade this fleet to the next kind. They'll start getting upgraded. And then, we can get a new Unity thingy. Let's go for building a district upkeep. We'll grab that real quick. And now I'm going to create a new fleet, very similar, basically the exact same. And we're going to hit the reinforce all button, and we're going to create another fleet, basically the exact same. Just printing fleets now is our goal. We spent some time building up the combat capabilities, the science capabilities, the resource capabilities, and now it's time to start cranking out fleets. We've also just hit maximum size 25 on Alaria, our capital world, and we've saved up a decent amount of biomass. I'm going to continue to save up biomass so we can start colonizing even more worlds. Now, technically their fleet power is superior to us. We're still in the process of gathering intel on them. Perfect. We've unlocked the deep sinkhole clearing capability. Yes, improved mauler development. This is what we're looking for. This is going to allow us to upgrade our maulers to their tier 2 version. This is absolutely an instantaneous pickup. We can also now come in here and actually clear out these deep sinkholes to improve the quality of our worlds, opening up more district slots, effectively increasing the size of these worlds. Now, let's recruit ourselves some new commanders for our fleet. We've got a trickster over here. We'll grab him. He will provide emergency FTL damage risk reductions as well as combat disengagement chance, which is fantastic. We're also going to level him up. I will give him automated repair system so the fleet repairs automatically. I'm also going to recruit myself another military commander. I can have up to 3 without any penalties. Oh, this guy's like a military one. I'll take you. That's fine. Now, eventually we would like to run these capacity subsidies, the mining subsidies and the farming subsidies, but we can't afford the Unity upkeep while we're still trying to max out our Unity ambitions. Let's grab ourselves 25% more terraforming speed from adaptability. We're one more ambition away, one more tradition away from maxing this out, which is going to allow us to have better colony designation bonuses. This is the colony designation thing right here. It'll make this more effective. Makes your empire more betterer at being specialized. Yes, the mature mauler. Ooh, we could go for the elder mauler. Now that would be sick. Let's go for the elder mauler. And this is going to prompt us to do a ship redesign, because if we go to the Mauler, now we have access to the Elder Swarm version. But there is, of course, the Picket version with the point defense on it. But we care about the Swarm version. We like to do direct damage here. So the Juvenile version, we're going to give access to the Juvenile Growth Gland. This will allow the ship to grow to its next phase over time. And so when I save this, not only am I able to have slightly bigger fleets, allowing me to put more juvenile maulers into my fleets, which I can then reinforce, I can now upgrade them. And once they are upgraded, they will actually start maturing. You can see here the mature mauler. It does take them 5 years to mature to the next phase, and they do take up more naval capacity, but they become a lot stronger, and it's really, really cool. So there's fusion metabolism. We have even better ships now available to us. An even better reaction booster can be great to excess power in your ship's design leads to better performance of shields, better performance of weapons, better performance of engines. So it's not a terrible thing to do. Now these guys have a single planet. So my hope, my strategy is to basically just rush down their capital and try to obliterate them in one fell swoop. So I'm going to recruit 10 armies for that purpose. There's the Ion Stellar Motor Organs. Ooh, a Quill Battery. Now this is like a small rapid fire attack weapon, which could be very interesting to make use of. Oh shoot, what is an Arc Furnace? Oh, I'm tempted to unlock this Arc Furnace. That sounds like a lot of fun. I don't know what that is, but I want it. Continuing to update my fleets as new technologies flow in. We need these guys to be at a very, very high combat capability if we're going to take these guys on. Finally, we have the biomass to colonize this world into a savanna world, which will have 100% habitability. I'm going to give it another month or 2 to allow the biomass overflow, and we'll begin colonizing. We're 38 years in, and we've been mostly chilling, trying to build up our combat power. But I think it's time that we grabbed our fleets when we got to the border and we begin the war. Awesome. There's the Elder Mauler. Now we can go ahead and unlock something new. An extra 10% population growth speed is really going to help our biomass. Let's go ahead and redesign the Mauler. So the juvenile form is going to have the growth gland. Ooh, we can give it the accelerated juvenile growth. Oh wait, we don't have the gases, so we'll just give it the regular growth gland. That's perfect. The mature version is going to have the mature growth gland, so it can grow into its mature version. The elder version, I am tempted to drop the reactor boosters for some afterburners, which would increase the evasion and speed. The elder version actually has a lot less base evasion, so something that gives plus 5% evasion chance is actually a lot worse for this class of ship. So I'll give it a little bit of shield because shields regenerate, and it means that our enemies can't easily counter us by going for a mono weapon type. Perfect. So now our ships will slowly mature into maulers. You can see they are already almost becoming mature maulers, which they will start the growth process to becoming elder maulers. All right, let's finish the adaptability traditions. That'll improve our orbital bombardment defense and our defense armies. We'll also get better colony designation bonuses. So this ability right here is now more efficient. We get evo-symbiont output, all really beautiful, wonderful things. And we can grab ourselves an Ascension perk. And the Ascension perk that we want is One Vision, which will give us a 10% Unity output boost and also lower the cost to ascend our colonies. This will make us really, really efficient in terms of Unity output. Now, let's go ahead and declare war. It is time to absorb you. We're taking on a pretty hefty defense station here, but I think we should easily be able to crush it based on our combat capabilities. And if we can get in here and conquer Rainair and bring our transport fleet in, we'll be able to defeat this entire enemy civilization in one fell swoop. Oh, we just warped in on top of their fleets. This could go either way. Oh, it looks like we're eviscerating them. Oh, we're winning. Yes! The ships reign. Bio ships rule. Let's go to fleet management. We want to replenish all of our losses. And hopefully in one fell swoop, if we take this capital world, that will effectively destroy their civilization, giving us new lands to expand into. Now, this station is quite tough. We might lose a few ships while fighting it, but that's fine. Let's keep replacing our losses, and we will put our ships in orbit of their capital world. Oh, it doesn't have a garrison. Oh, they don't have a garrison, those fools. We'll be able to just drop invasion. Where's my invasion fleet? There you are. Go immediately land on this enemy planet. They don't have any defense armies. They de-worked. They stopped. They de-emphasized the enforcer jobs, trying to make their economy more efficient. They were doing the pro play, but it came back to bite them. Because now they don't have any defense armies, and I just instantaneously took over their capital world, ending their civilization. They have been eradicated. They are gone. And now all that is left of them is several thousand of their population being eaten for my food and society research. Those foolish fools. They made a huge error in judgment. Interestingly, they left behind a materials workshop, which I don't think it's meant to, but that would allow us to get a lot more research from the engineering brain drones. I don't think that's what we want to do here. We're going to build some cradles of rebirth. We need that biomass. So I'll go ahead and just demolish this so I don't have to pay for it. Feels kind of exploity to keep a building around that I'm not supposed to have access to. The good news is we can now just start expanding into this empty terrain, because when their empire was deleted, it was truly deleted. Now we're a little bit over our starbase capacity, which is costing us quite a bit of starbase upkeep. So I'm going to start downgrading a couple of starbases here or there. One of our scientists has leveled up. Now this guy is really good at anomaly research speed. So let's see here. We could go for Explorer, which is good at exploration and surveying, or we could go for Scholar, which is good at anomaly research. I think I'll go for Scholar. And then I'm going to tell this guy to stop doing surveys and instead focus on anomalies and special projects. Lovely. There's genome mapping for 10% pop growth speed. Remember that is going to directly contribute to the rate at which we get biomass. Fleet command limit would be incredibly useful. We are going to start bumping up into our naval capacity, because eventually all of these ships will cost twice as much naval capacity as they cost fleet capacity. So I'm going to go ahead and grab myself Doctrine fleet support to increase my base naval capacity, which will get boosted by, things like Devouring Swarm, etc. And we have found a Voltaum gas mining facility over here, which is very cool. One of my scientists has leveled up. This is the anomaly discovery chance guy, so I'm going to give him even more anomaly discovery chance, and I'm going to tell him to focus on exploration. We're getting into the phase of the game where we can specialize our scientists a little bit. Oh, this is a beautiful size 30 world. Now that is really interesting. We're going to be able to build a massive planet. Let's get these cradles of rebirth. I think that's going to be an important part of getting our biomass up. We're very, 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 very limited by our biomass. Now, these guys are actually inferior to us at this time. So I'm going to focus on expanding out into here while we prepare to go to war with these guys and claim a bunch of their land and maybe grab a planet or two. So a bunch of our ships have matured, which is now increasing the amount of alloys they consume. And that is going to mean we need to expand our molt guts here. We finished researching the improved reactor booster, which is going to be a significant boost to our ships. In order to get use out of the exotic research enclosure, we are going to need gas. So we can't build it just yet. So I'll just grab like a cheap technology so that we can re-roll which techs we have available, so that we can maybe try to get a technology that'll allow us to access gas. The blood forest comes for you. We need more biomass. Uh-oh. Hunter space amoebas. That's kind of spooky out there. I do have a fleet exploring down here, just trying to clear out any potential monsters that'll get in the way of my explorers. It does take time. Ooh, and we finished terraforming Menkalanan 3. Now this is a lush world that will give us a ton of food, which is really, really awesome. So let's get started by popping Mastery of Nature. It is already a size 25 world, so we don't need to use minerals to expand it. And I'm half tempted to just make this a pollinating world where we make an outrageous amount of farms. To start with, I'll build one of each type of basic district and at least one cradle of rebirth to sustain the population. And we get to pick our next tradition. Now, a good one to pick could be supremacy because it'll give us extra naval capacity as well as extra fleet command. However, I really like synchronicity, mostly for that colony ascension cost. The extra 5 stability is amazing, but yeah, making it cheaper to ascend colonies and then making the effect of colony ascension better is awesome. So we're going to grab synchronicity, focus on building big, beautiful, powerful worlds. I'm working on building up Menkalinan's cradles of rebirth so that we can just have biomass on biomass on biomass on biomass. One more biomass doodad. Cradle of Rebirth in Menkalinan 3 means that we're cranking out max biomass from here. I would like to crank out max biomass from real deep as well. It's very important that we get that biomass pumping, because the faster we get biomass, the faster we can increase the biomass that we make, which means the faster we can get biomass, the faster we can convert our economy into being more efficient and all that sort of stuff. Like, biomass is everything. So I have some good news and I have some bad news. I muted my microphone about 30 minutes ago, and there's a whole bunch of footage of me actually playing the game and doing quite well. But all of that is gone now. Oops. The good news is we declared war on the Union of Arzoria. We managed to get control of this section, and now we can terraform worlds. So we're in the process of terraforming all of our planets over to be Savannah worlds. We have discovered that actually you can colonize a world and then terraform it after you've colonized it. And if you were to terraform it with biomass, it would cost you like 2,500 biomass, or you can colonize it with like 500 biomass and then terraform it for 5,000 energy. And energy is a lot easier to get than biomass, so I'm going for the more biomass efficient route. We've got 3 fully stacked fleets of elder maulers. You know, they've got their full modules, they're ready to fight, and we're going to go deep into Asgard and take out the Union of Arzoria. We're only at 12% war exhaustion, so we can keep this war up for quite a while before any problems happen. The Churk Eradicators looks like they got eradicated. I was in the process of building up a relatively strong fortress here in Bombala, which we will continue to do. We just researched the chemical digester. We did get a few technologies off screen that I'm not sure to explain, but basically we got the chemical digester. That's going to allow us to get volatile motes, which will allow us to get tier 2 buildings, or tier 3 buildings depending. We got survey speed and a couple of techs in here. We do have an astral tear inside our territory now, so it would be nice to unlock astral harvesting, so I will go ahead and start researching that. On the engineering side of things, we did just finish researching crystal mines, so I think the only thing we're missing now is gases. So if we could figure out a way to get gas, and gas is going to be pretty important to us, I think we'd be laughing. This is a way to generate crystals. This is the solid light smelter. Plasteel, we could improve our ships. I think we're strong enough to where we don't need to improve our ships right now, so we can continue to focus on improving our economy. So I think the solid light smelter will be useful. Oh, here we go. We can get exotic gases from our photosymbionts on Bidgalb. That's actually a great way for it to get a ton of gases. That's going to be really awesome. And it's going to fuel our Empire's gas needs, so probably that planet can almost entirely sustain it. Looking forward to that. We're beginning the fight to take over Asgard. This planet here is also not defended. The AI is quite good at the game, actually. Planets being undefended is actually the AI playing correctly. I know that doesn't sound right, but basically what it says is the AI is not wasting their economy's potential on jobs that do no productive work, which just so happens to be, though, that, you know, maybe you won a few defense armies when I'm invading you. So let's grab synchronized circadian rhythms. That's going to lower the upkeep of our leaders and lower the empire size of our pops. Now, empire size from population is actually quite a small part of our empire size, but it will be contributing over time. So it's no big deal if we just kind of trim that back a little bit. Now, it looks like the Churk Eradicators just got conquered. We won't be moving in on this empty territory. I think we're just going to stay where we are. All right, we're invading another planet. Should be an easy capture. Fallengar 3 is ready for more cradles of rebirth, so we can pump more biomass. We need the biomass, and it looks like we're about to engage up to 60 enemy ships in battle. Let's go get them. Looks like things are mostly in my favor. It should be a pretty easy battle for us. I don't expect our ships to have trouble. We significantly outnumber the enemies, and it looks like it was a victory for us. They lost 5 corvettes. We lost 3 ships. However, Their weaponry were pretty damn effective against us, all things considered. Yeah, they were firing torpedoes. One day it'll be worth it for us to bring picket stuff. They've brought more fleets to the fore. Let's get those shipyards going so that we can reinforce on the front line. Here comes the battle. Hopefully this battle goes a little bit better, or rather doesn't go worse. Looks like it's already going pretty well. I do expect us to lose the occasional ship, but I also expect us to do some pretty serious casualties to our enemies. And yes, it looks like we lost 2 juvenile weavers, but we killed so many ships. Let's make sure we queue up some reinforcements. Our shipyards will automatically build and send those reinforcements, which is great. Now, coming down to Malgagol, we will need a little bit of districts. We're also going to need a Cradle of Rebirth to get more population on here. We would also like to terraform it into a savanna world to get the habitability up. Now, a bit of a problem is we've run out of energy. Nice, another world has become a savanna world. Hopefully that will lead to us having a few more resources. We are having a bit of a resource crisis at the moment in terms of energy. And we've got a Cyclone Listem, which looks like some sort of cosmic storm. It does devastation and it seems to deal damage to ships. Glugdor, this planet seems to be undefended, so let's get our transport fleet to land here. I'm in the process of trying to rebalance my economy to be a little bit more sensible. So the Galactic community has been formed. However, we are a devouring swarm, so we have no interest in joining that. And honestly, that's exactly how I like it. I don't want to have to do diplomacy. We finished researching Weaver development so we can get more ships inside of our fleets and we can begin some new research. Starbase capacity could be pretty useful. I think improving our planets is like one of our primary goals, considering we are a species of sentient planets. That is what we are. So having high quality planets feels like the correct move for us. Awesome. We've discovered exotic gas bog plants on Bombala 3 as well, getting those great terraforming events. We've managed to stabilize our economy, so we're no longer negative on everything. And I think Real Deep here would make a great tech world. It already has a ton of communal biomes, which means it'll scale really nicely off the think stem. We could go for a harmonic core for a combination of Unity and research, but I'm going to go for more on the research side of things. All right, sick. There's going to be a huge period of amazing Unity gain. We'll go from 200 Unity per month to, I'll give you my monthly tick, 264. So that's a great increase in our Unity. We also just finished researching the solid light smelter, and now we can go to tier 2 star bases. That will help us out quite a bit in increasing the amount of ships that we can build per month, as well as the fortification capacity of our defensive stations. I think what I would like is I would like for my growth node to grow up, to level up. It's currently level 5, which means it is giving me a 15% organic pop growth boost, but I would like it to grow faster, so I'm going to trigger a growth revision, which will hopefully lead to it leveling up even faster. We have unlocked the secrets behind astral actions. And so now we have new astral actions available to us. We can gain physics insights, which will give us 10% monthly physics research for 5 years, thanks to finishing astral harvesting. I'm going to grab myself the exotic research enclosure because that's going to help us get more science from our planets. And now we need to catch this enemy fleet and take them out. Oh, a rift in space. Let's see. Very cool. So we'll be able to explore astral rifts properly soon, although that's not the focus of this game. Our main goal is to conquer the galaxy, or at least see how far we can get there in a reasonable amount of time. I mean, I think I've been playing for like 3.5, 4 hours. We're about 60 years into the game. Let's get them. Don't let them get away. Oh, they got blasted. We killed 9. We killed 10 of their ships in total. It's very nice. In terms of Unity, let's go ahead and grab Synchronicity. That's going to give us plus 50 Edict Fund. Edict Funds will be useful should we ever start passing edicts, which we can't really afford to in terms of Unity at the moment. Malgagul could be ready. We could build chemical digesters. The big thing we need is biomass. We just need so much biomass. So I'll grab a handful of Cradles of Rebirth in here. More tile blockers have been unlocked. Ooh, getting minor artifacts for every so many biologists. That could be kind of cool. I mean, it's hard to pass up. It's a really cool, unique, rare technology. Oh, what are you up against? Okay, we're only up against a single enemy fleet, so we should be able to easily defeat them and then enforce a peace. So I would call this a successful war. We could push for more, but they have so many planets and we need to stabilize and specialize our economy and get everything in order. So I reckon this might be a good place to piece these guys out. We've taken a lot of their land. We've significantly damaged their capacity for war. We've even managed to significantly increase the amount of intel we're able to generate against them. So I'm going to settle the status quo. We have obliterated them, and I would call that a very successful war. And we need to do a bit of a review of our planets here. Now, it looks like our pops can quite easily generate about 2,000 workforce. So it's probably a good idea to have at least 2,000 workforce worth of each job. Like right now, we're under quota for symbionts and over quota for polynosymbionts. So let me go ahead and switch a hollow mountain and an orchard forest over. In fact, I'll do 2 of each. And those replacements will just get us closer to where we need to be. And I realize now, like biomass is everything. So I'm going to replace these commensal groves with Cradles of Rebirth. And I should have just built Cradles of Rebirth early into the game. They will take a while to pay themselves off, but I think it's worth it to do it. And we're basically just going to retool this whole planet to maximize the amount of biomass that we're producing. And that's our number one goal right now, is to get biomass producers on every single planet that we currently have, and then to do the bare minimum to specialize those planets a little bit, expand them, everything else, and continue to develop. So we're entering into a period of stabilization where I wouldn't exactly call it taking our foot off the gas, but we're just calming down a little bit, making sure that we can continue to grow as much biomass as possible. Because basically, biomass is our population for a normal empire. So the maths that I'm doing in my head, right, with these specialized districts, because they're specialized as solar mycolungs, right, every time we build a photosynthesis field, we get 300 jobs. We can easily provide 2,100 workforce to each job. 2,100 divided by 300 is 7. And that means the optimal number of districts of each type to have on each planet is actually 7 of these base districts. So I'm going to start working towards that. I figured out an optimization, and I think that is just down to the way the mechanics work at the moment. I think the mechanics they probably need another pass or I just need to understand them better, but based on what I am seeing, 7 districts is the optimal number. 6 if we build these lithic bores, 5 if we upgrade the lithic bores, but we don't want to build those if we can avoid it. Because even though this planet here, Menkalanan 3, is specialized towards orchard forests, is cranking out biomass, we're just not really working that biomass. And that tells me we need to rework how we're doing things in here. So what we're going to do is replace these orchard forests with more of these photosynthesis fields and more of these hollow mountains. Awesome, we've unlocked exotic research enclosures. Now we do have gas in, so we should be able to go to one of our tech worlds here. And if we can save up a little bit of minerals, we'll be able to significantly increase the amount of research that's coming from this world. Right now, we're making about 30-ish of each type, which is not bad. Let's have a look at what we want to research in terms of physics. We just finished exotic research enclosure, like I said. I think I would like to unlock mote harvesting traps so that we could get volatile motes if we need to. Checking the situation log, we are now the 9th most powerful empire when it comes to score, which is pretty damn good if you ask me. So we're in the process of completely retooling our entire empire. I'm letting my resources stack up before I get to work on that. In Alaria, I'm going to go ahead and start building some subterranean caches. It's going to use a little bit of my biomass to give me a huge amount of resource storage capacity. That'll give me 15,000, give me an extra 45,000 resource storage capacity, which will let me build up bigger stockpiles of resources before I have to spend them. I'm also going to go ahead and recruit myself a few bone garrisons in here. This is going to give me a significant upgrade to the number of these. See, where are they? Is it these tamer symbionts here? Yeah, these jobs here, which will give me a huge amount of naval capacity, allowing me to expand my military. And that's pretty much what I'm doing. I'm going around and I'm optimizing my planets to make sure that everywhere has the correct number of districts of the right type. There's mote harvesting traps. We have access to volatile motes now. I think I would like FTL inhibition so people can't just run past my star bases. I think that's a pretty good option. We just reached a higher level of intel with the Demaxian Combine. I can tell because we just got more intel on them. Let's keep gathering information. We now get minor artifacts from our biologists. That's going to give us a significant amount of minor artifacts across our empire. I definitely want Elder Weavers. There's going to be an important way for us to improve our fleet. Speaking of which, let's start upgrading the juvenile. And then I want to make sure that we upgrade all of our fleets to the newest models. We're also going to want to do reinforcements, but that's not super important. Yes, the second last synchronicity tradition is just about to be mine. We just need one more. We'll get a huge stability boost, which means a resource boost. And then we'll be able to also get the colony ascension effects and start ascending colonies. And once we start ascending colonies, we're going to see a lot of value cranking out of our worlds. Let's turn you into a singing cliff. Excellent. We also want to make sure that we're expanding the size of all of our planets wherever possible by mastery of nature and also using minerals. We can do a physics insight here, and it'll be active for like 5 years, and then we'll be able to maybe do another one in the future. Okay, sick. We've unlocked starholds, which should allow us to upgrade all of our shipyards to the next tier. Now, part of the problem that we have right now is that we do not make that many alloys. Now, we are stronger than most people around us, so we don't need that much more alloy production. We have a very, very powerful economy, but I will get a couple of more molt guts so that we can pump out some more alloys. I definitely want these exotic gas filters. I don't necessarily need them. Actually, you know what? The crystal bed would be better because we're going to get a lot of exotic gas from those planets that get exotic gas from certain jobs. So I'm going to go for the crystal bed first. These strategic resources are important for building up your tier 2, or well, up-tiering your economy essentially. Now our empire is relaxing, and what I mean by that is, like, you can imagine that we're in the process of digesting the feast that we just had, for lack of a better way of describing it. Fallengar 3 is what I would consider to be finished, or to put it a different way, we have assembled the planet into something resembling its final form. We've got the singing clips online. We are missing colonial centralization. This planet will begin producing a significant amount of unity for us if we can continue to increase its size. We need to get its size up a significant amount. I am going to upgrade the avatar cradle so that we get that 20% choir symbiont output. I'm going to spend the biomass to upgrade these commensal groves as well. And then we're going to continue to pump up these communal biomes. So that's Fallengar 3 essentially completed. I'm going to go ahead and tell it to be a tranquil world. We're going to need another couple of these tranquil worlds to crank out resources. We're going to need an extremely large amount of unity if we're going to ascend our planets. You can see here, ascending a single planet is going to cost us 11,000 unity. And we're going to want to ascend all of our planets like pretty often. Bombala 3 is still, the default photosynthesis world. I want to get 2 more hollow mountains, 1 more photosynthesis field, and then I want to get my molt guts / my smelting pools, and these smelting pools will give me a significant boost to my alloy output. Then we'll build a bunch of communal biomes and expand the size of the planet so we can continue to develop it. We just finished colonizing Habrak 3, and we will start getting our cradles of rebirth in here. Again, biomass is everything. We also need to terraform Habrak 3 into a savanna world to increase the habitability, which will increase its resource output. We're going to want to destroy any of the planetary tile blockers in here, as well as get all of our districts up to a reasonable level. So 7 photosynthesis fields, 6 hollow mountains, and as many orchard forests as we can get right now. And in due time, we'll make our way through this build queue, and this planet will be very, very quickly transformed into something quite powerful. We have FTL inhibitors. We can begin a new technology research. Improving our weaponry is probably good, as is improving our power generation. It'll take 35 months. That's about 3 years to get that up and running. Now, we're going to grab ourselves collective reasoning. That's going to give us +5 stability on our worlds. Remember, stability is this ability right here that just gives you straight up more resources. A 5% +5 stability is, I believe, like, it's a couple of percent of resources. So not a huge amount, but very useful. More importantly, here is that colony ascension cost -10%. That's going to be extremely useful, as is the colony ascension effect +25%. That's also going to be extremely useful. And with that, we can take another ascension perk. There's quite a few really interesting ascension perks we could take right now. The most interesting of which is the biomorphosis event. This will allow us to unlock the purity tradition, which is going to be a very, very powerful tradition for our empire, as it will allow us to ascend to a higher tier of being. Let's put it that way. Now, this will begin the biomorphosis event. And because we are a blood forest, we have no choice but to take the path of purity. And the path of purity will give us extra population growth speed based on the number of genomic drones that we have. That will be useful later. So biomorphosis will slowly tick up. We do need a particular technology at stage 2 that we'll have to research, but that'll do the job for us. Okay, so the kaleidoscope that has been siphoning energy away from my empire has decided to leave, which is giving us the vacuum flower relic. So if we go to our, is it traditions or is it technology? I don't remember where you keep this thing. Here it is. It's inside our discoveries. So we have the vacuum flower, and if we activate this, we'll get plus 300 energy credits from our capital system. Very useful. We don't particularly want to spend the Unity on that. I think we're happy without it. We're going to switch Bombala 3 from being a photosynthesis world over to being a crucible world, which will lower the upkeep cost of our forged symbionts, but also increase their output ever so slightly. Which will be quite nice. The Endurgan Hive is planning on declaring war on us. So once we're done fighting over here, we'll need to bring our fleets to bear against them. Hopefully we can wipe them out in one fell swoop. I'm doing the best that I can to build a fortress in Bombala Station to buy as much time as possible. There's crystal beds. Let's go ahead and start a new research. Gas extraction wells. It would be nice to get this. Ooh, the Storm Relief Center. I don't think we necessarily need that. It's kind of cool, but we don't need it at all. It would bring us down the cosmic storm protection path. I'm a little bit more intrigued about getting better gas extraction. So we've got Resourceful Ascension. This is a biomorphosis event. We can gain monthly unity and society resource, or we can get infrastructural bolstering, which will increase the speed at which we build things, and Potato will gain the Eldritch Potato will gain the architectural focus. I do like the idea of making all of our buildings cheaper because that means we need less biomass, so I'm going to do that. We're up to nearly 3,000 spare biomass, which is fantastic. We're in the process of building up all these different planets down here in our frontier sector. So there's advanced weaver development. We can now make elder weavers. We'll need to update our fleets. Let's quickly get the Ba-Voom class and make sure that they have the mature growth gland. We could, in theory, give the accelerated juvenile growth gland to our juveniles, so when we build them, they will turn into elders rather quickly. It would be really nice to unlock more modules, but we do need to research these tile blocker clearers. Getting rid of tile blockers, again, is a real focus on increasing the quality of our worlds, and that's kind of central to our plans as a giant sentient network of planets. So cold fusion metabolism here is completed. That is a significant upgrade to our ships. I think it would be good for us to get basic combat roles. That's going to help upgrade our ships as well. Just want to keep our ship quality really, really high. It looks like these guys decided to not declare war on me, as they realized that my ship power was devastatingly strong. The blood forest has no fear. It waits and hungers. Now I want to come in here and show you, I don't know how to show you how much planet size that my capital world is producing, but I do want to show you that I'm very close to being able to ascend it, and I want to show you the effect that the Ascension has. Now, we have finished Biomorphosis Phase 1, so now we get Purity 1 completed, and we're going to get access to gene tailoring. We're pretty much going to want to immediately start researching gene tailoring so that we can get to the next phase of the Purity tech. So it costs 12,000 Unity to ascend our capital. We currently have a total empire size of 1,521. So now there's kind of two key areas that this is going to upgrade. I believe it will upgrade this Hearth World ability, mainly the 15% resources from jobs. So if I come in here and I colony ascend, boom, this colony is now ascended 1 tier, and it's now producing an extra 4.68% resources from jobs, as well as boosts to stability, housing, deviancy, all those great things, okay? And the 521 empire size that we're experiencing as a result of this should reduce to 510. Now that doesn't sound like a pretty huge reduction, but relatively speaking, that is really nice, considering the effects of Ascension get better the more you ascend. And you guys know me, I love Unity, so I'm going to turn all 4 of these planets into tranquil worlds so that we can make infinite Unity. Is that a good way to play the game? No, and I don't give a damn. It's the way I enjoy playing. And at the end of the day, that's the only damn thing I give a damn about, is am I having fun playing the game? We've unlocked basic combat roles, which will be a significant upgrade to our ships, but we'll have to focus on giving them that upgrade after the next war. Instead, we're going to continue to focus on researching military technology, and listening posts and gravitic sensors are useful military technologies. There's gas extraction wells for our materials technology. Let's go ahead and grab the Star Fortress. It'll take 80 months and it'll give us the next tier of our star bases that we're in the process of building up. Now, the Endurgan Hive had planned to declare war on me, so I'm going to go ahead and flip the script and declare war on them. All right, finally, we found a planet with an actual army in charge of it. Let's put a military commander on this guy. Oh, I don't have any good leaders for ground combat. Oh well, we'll just land these armies and let them fight. Fighting on the planetary surface is basically just a stat check. Your armies duke it out. Whoever has the better army wins. There's not really a whole lot of micromanagement or anything you can do in here. But we should win, and we have successfully taken over yet another planet that we might want to look into terraforming and doing all those juicy things. My cognitive node has leveled up, which is quite exciting. Ooh, plus 5% research speed from neural overclocking. That sounds awesome. Our Legion node has leveled up. We could upgrade our combat brain to tier 2. This would give us even more naval capacity, free ship starting experience. Ooh, planetary defense armies is quite good. Sublight speed is also quite useful for getting our ships from point to point. I do quite like the free planetary defense armies. It's kind of fun. It makes us uninvadable. But I do think the best one here is the sublight speed. Having faster ships is an extremely powerful advantage. There's listening posts and gravitic sensors. We can now begin researching something new. Let's go ahead and grab ourselves a next tier of weaponry in the blue beam projector. Our fleets have made it to Ulrike, which means we're ready to go ahead and attack Chort and then begin finishing off the Endurgan Hive. And Dabi 2 has been captured as well. I think the first thing we should do is make sure that we specialize the basic districts and then go ahead and expand the size of the planet, and then we'll fill out the main city zone to generate as much biomass as possible. And then I reckon we could use a little bit more research. Awesome, there's gene tailoring, so the purity event should start to progress again, which is fantastic. We really need to grab colonial centralization. This is going to allow us to upgrade all of our planets. We've kind of delayed this as long as, I mean, it's completely unreasonable to delay it this long. We basically should have got this ages ago. But this is going to allow us to have more leaders, as well as to upgrade our actual colony tiers, which will make each individual planet more efficient. We've also got blue beam projectors. We can go ahead and upgrade to even better power nodes. And we can finally open up the purity ambition. No, we need to complete the biomorphosis situation before we can begin the purity ambition. So I'm going to spend my influence on upgrading my worlds. In particular, I would like to upgrade this tranquil world. It'll cost me 28,000 influence baseline. However, I have discounts, so it's only going to cost me 22,500, and that's going to lower the empire size of this bad boy, but also improve its output. Right now it's outputting 139 influence. If I click this up, badoosh, now it's outputting 142, but it's costing me about 10 less empire size, so it's quite a chunk more efficient. I know that doesn't sound like a huge amount, but believe me, small little gains in efficiency accumulate over time. Alright, biomorphosis. We can get assured longevity for 15 years, which is stability and unity, or we can get menial drone output. I'm going to go for the assured longevity for that extra stability and unity. We do need this situation to finish itself. We've almost completely devoured the Endurgan Hive. We just have 3 more places to capture and then a star base to grab. So unfortunately, one of our leaders has died. However, the wilderness will endure. So I'll pop into Asgard here. I will make it a sector and I will grab a governor for this. Now, in theory, we could grab a scientist and put them in charge here, but I'm going to go for an official with the mindfulness trait so that we get a bunch of unity boosts. A small little extra trickle of unity from these planets. Eldritch Potato has leveled up. We could go for optimizer, architectural focus 2. Unification focus would be awesome as well. That's another 10% unity. I will take that. I love unity. It's my favorite resource. Oh yes, we can purge the contaminant and gain 30% monthly unity. beautiful. We're going to go ahead and land our armies in Mardom 3, which is the Endurgan Hive's capital world, which will be the end of them. So we are going to choose the purity path in our biomorphosis. This is going to get us gene seed purification, which will be the next technology that we research after, of course, we finish upgrading our planetary tiers. Let's use our Unity now to upgrade Grommen 3 to a tier 1 world. This will upgrade the cogitation world from 2525 to 3226 6.5, and our empire size will dip down another little trickle. Of course, it's constantly shooting up as we expand because we just captured Mardom. We're going to want to terraform Mardom to a savanna world, clear out the ruined districts, immediately begin the construction of infinite cradles of rebirth so that we have all the biomass we'll ever need. Perfect. There's colonial centralization. This is going to be a very important period of advancement for our empire because now we can build a planetary root complex which will essentially tier up our planets, like I mentioned before. Our next research is going to be the gene seed purification. We want to finish our purity ambitions. It's going to cost us a lot of biomass to upgrade all of these planets. It's 160 biomass per planet, but it's absolutely worth it because now a second specialization is available for each of these worlds, which is going to double the complex output of these planets. Constantly in the process of like reshaping my empire, and these subterranean caches are quite useful so that I just can have infinite resources. Like my current capacity for energy credits is 300,000, which is ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. Now take a planet like Bombala 3. We're going to be able to get ourselves another molt good in here to bring this up to basically double the alloy output of this planet, which is insane. And we're going to be able to upgrade these smelting pools to smelting kilns, which again doubles the output. For some of my planets that are Unity focused, I'm actually going to be building command bulbs, with the idea being that we can get a little bit of military capacity out of them. And here we go, boom. We have finished the biomorphosis, giving us access to the purity tree. Yes. So the first thing of adopting purity will give us a 20% boost to our leaders' lifespan, so people who guard our fleets and scientists and generals, all this sort of stuff, they will live a lot longer. Finishing the purity traditions will give us building and district construction speed based on the number of buildings and districts we have, and districts will become uncapped. This will allow us to start doing some pretty crazy stuff when we start getting into really high amounts of biomass. But there's also a lot of really cool abilities in here in the purity tree that we will show you as they unfold. As we generate this unity, it will make sense as to why I focused so hard on generating so much unity. We now have access to the Star Fortress, which is awesome. Ooh, we could get alloy nanoplants. Integrated cybernetics would be nice for habitability. That would be really good across my empire because we only have, even on a regular savanna world, our habitability percentage it's only 80%, which means we are taking a slight penalty to our output. And I would like to get rid of that penalty. But you can see our surpluses are starting to erode as we tier up our economy, and we need more baseline resources to fuel our economy. I'm going to build us a chemical digester on Bombala 3. This will provide us with a large amount of volatile motes. I could, I guess, build it over here in the Cradle of Rebirth, but these are too good to give up. And this chemical digester will provide the volatile motes that these solid light smelters require to be fueled. Remember, upgrading one of these guys to the solid light will increase the amount of alloys they produce, but also increase the amount of minerals they need to be upkept. So this planet is going to become outrageously hungry for minerals soon. And it's important for us to locally produce at least some of the minerals so as not to stress our trade empire too heavily, as planetary deficits will eat up a lot of our trade value. Think of it as like an upkeep effect, and we want to be careful about that. Awesome, we can get a new tradition. We are going to go ahead and pick up optimized neurology. This is going to give us leader starting traits, effective leader level, and leader starting age. Leader starting age isn't so important for us as a hive because our leaders already have a really low starting age, but it does mean we'll be able to squeeze out an extra few years out of our guys and an extra few years of quality from our guys. And at long last, we have found a cure for this really annoying void worm parasite. We can go ahead and leave it behind. I decided to switch Fallengar 3 over to being a command world so that I could maximize the amount of armies that I make from it. So we should see a massive number of naval capacity coming here, which will allow me to expand my military. I'm going to build some bone garrisons here, continue to push up that. It does use up a significant amount of our biomass, but that's okay. As you can even see here, Bombala 3 now has a deficit of minerals, and that mineral deficit is going to eat into our trade. So we just want to minimize the amount of upkeep we have to pay for that. It doesn't have to be perfectly balanced. It's okay to have a deficit, but if we can get a little bit more out of our hollow mountains here, I think that's great. All right, sick. We just got gene seed purification, which is amazing. So now we can get gene warrior armies. I don't think they're necessarily better than what we had access to. If we go to Altair, our capital, we're able to recruit pre-sapient hordes, which I think is just fine by me. So we could go for ceramo metal infrastructure. This will make planetary infrastructure cheaper to build, and that would be actually really good for us because we use biomass to build our buildings. So cheaper buildings is great. I'm going to create a new fleet using a combination of juvenile maulers and juvenile weavers, and then I will reinforce this fleet and allow them to start to mature. We just finished antimatter metabolism. What do we want to go for next? It would be nice to do Astral Rift exploration, but I think I need better weaponry. I'm actually going up against an opponent who's going to be equivalent or superior in firepower to me, so having stronger ships is probably going to serve me pretty well. I also just discovered that there's a third tier to these buildings here that actually gives extra food per polyno symbiont. So I should have been building this a long time ago. To use up my strategic resources, which, you know, look, that happens. It's been a while since I played Stellaris, and this is a new way of playing. I'm not that experienced with playing the Blood Forest, okay? You're gonna make mistakes. But my empire will become a lot more efficient in, as we start finishing up some of these things. There's integrated cybernetics that's going to give us plus 5% habitability, which is amazing. Oh, and then we'll be able to get lithic bats for advanced mineral purification. Give me that. And so now we can get imperfect remediation, which will allow us to expand our planet sizes beyond size 25. Now, it will cost extra food and alloys to do that, but we can make gigaplanets. However, I think we're going to go for heightened attributes here. This will lower our empire size significantly from 1957 down to 1684, and that is going to significantly reduce the amount of unity we need to finish this tradition tree. We've finished researching ceramo metal infrastructure, which is going to make it a lot easier to expand our empires, to verticalize our empire. We would love to unlock the juvenile harbinger. So let's go ahead and grab that. That's going to be a third ship type that we've never had access to before. The Union of Urzoria has declared war on us. They have quite a hefty army on our border. We are in the process of upgrading our stations, and we have a pretty hefty star base here. We do have one fleet that's not too far away that might be able to get there to help out in time. It's sort of an open question though. They are, they're a decent amount of distance away. I don't know if they'll get there in time to help. I mean, our fortress is holding as strong as it can. I can't quite tell how many enemy ships it killed, but they do look pretty damn wounded. Oh, you should not have engaged. Okay, be engaged a little bit aggressively with this army. Let's try to catch them as they come through here. We'll put some defensive platforms around this little outpost here. It won't do a huge amount, but it might help a little. We did actually manage to find the Voltom homeworld. Voltamar is all the way over here, so we'll hopefully be able to capture that. And I actually kind of linked up our empire in a really nice way. The Demazanian Combine has also declared war on me. And that's a bit of a problem because I'm still engaged in this war over here, and I'm in the process of upgrading my fleets. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to try and punch these guys really hard, maybe capture a Mandy, force them into a peace, and then see if we can switch and go punch these guys instead. Let's see if we can pull that off. All right, we'll move all these fleets together and see if we can punch through. We did just unlock the Juvenile Harbinger, which would be a significant way to increase the power of our fleet. Ooh, Deep Space Citadel defense systems. We could get mature Harbingers, we could get silviculture plantations, even more food coming out of our jobs. I think we need that fleet command limit. Let's have a look at the Harbinger. So this looks like a picket carrier type class. Let's start reinforcing our fleets with all these new ships. We've added some Harbingers, we've added some carriers to our fleets. That's going to help us out quite a bit. Now we're going to go ahead and take imperfect remediation. This is going to allow us to expand our planetary size beyond 25. And so if we head over to Alaria, our capital world, we can indeed increase its size for a huge injection of resources. There's the planetary power grid, which is going to allow us to do a lot when it comes to our economy. we? But we need better weaponry. So I'll get researching on the UV beam projector in engineering technology. We just finished advanced mineral purification, which is going to increase our capabilities as well. I would like to get the plasma stellar motor organs, which is going to increase the speed and evasion of our ships. We're going to hold at the edge of space here, waiting for reinforcements. And then, oh, look at that. We managed to engage a fleet on their own. That's huge if we can catch these guys off guard. That will pretty much guarantee a victory because of the defeat in detail, because we engaged the enemy fleets one by one. We are engaging the station now, which is a bit of a problem. But if we can capture this station and rebuild up its fortifications, we're going to be looking a lot better. In fact, these guys may even be willing to take a status quo. Nope, that's totally fine. I'm going to recruit some armies from the local area. I figure I can focus on one war at a time and then turn around and fight the other. So let's upgrade you to a star fortress. Tell these guys to go enter orbit around this. This thing will get repaired and we'll be able to begin advancing on our enemies. It may be good for us to send one of our fleets, whichever one is the least damaged. We are going to fire off a reinforce all and increase the number of shipyards over here because it is cranking out ships for us. But yeah, I'm tempted to send a ship down this lane to start capturing some of this territory. But they're all a little bit weak, so I'm going to hold off on that. All right, awesome. Fleet command limit plus 20. That's going to be huge. Definitely should clear up some of these old techs that are kind of sitting around, like standardized mauler incubation. That'll make my maulers cheaper, meaning we can replace our losses way easier. Our maulers are cheaper now. Let's get mature harbingers. I don't think we need those just yet. I think I want to clear up some of these bad techs down here in the bottom. Just kind of clean up some of that old technology that's hanging around. Here's the UV beam projectors are completed. Let's grab the X-ray beam projectors. That's going to increase the capability of our ships to fight. We could go on a crusade for these guys' capital. There's climate control network. We can get rid of glacial tile blockers. I'm going to clean up energy siphon. That'll only take 9 months. Like I said, I'm trying to clean up all these old techs that have kind of been hanging around and are in the way. Just for context, if I seemed like I lost what the hell I was doing, it has been a day or two since I've played. We're 98 years in, by the way. Holy crap. I'm not sure why there's planets that are bleeping here. I do remember, oh my god, we're at the Union of Urzoria plus their entire federation. Okay, well that's fun. And we're against the Galactic, who is this? The Demazanian Combine plus their federation. Jesus. Now, I believe we'd come up with a theory that if we hit these guys hard enough, we might be able to get them to peace out early, and then we can fall back and deal with these guys. And I think we're going to continue along that line. I have a fleet in a fortress over here, so I might be able to do something to defend by time, whatever. Now, I reckon I'm going to have to push above my naval force limit quite a bit. I do have some hunter worlds coming online, although they're not online yet for some reason. For some reason, these jobs aren't getting workers. I don't really understand why. I don't think I fully understand playing as a planet. I'll be real with you. All right, I've set up all of my fleets to have roughly the same amount of all kinds of different ships, and we don't quite have the money to reinforce everything, but we will start the process of reinforcing just so we can get as much military cranking out as possible. I'm going to take one of these fleets, this one with the low-level commander. I'm going to send them to the south to go clear out this. It's going to send them on a mission to capture all this territory and then hold position over this star base, while the rest of my fleets up here in the north are going to go straight for the enemy capital. If we can capture the capital, I think that would be very, very annoying for our enemies. Now we need to manage and maintain our forge capital here. We have an outrageous number of forge symbionts cracking away here, making me a ridiculous amount of minerals, but we are also going to want to upgrade these buildings again, as this will double the amount of minerals these buildings will provide my empire. On my cogitation world, I have fully built this. You could make an argument of replacing some of these orchard forests, the photosynthesis fields, for more research jobs, but these do actually provide some research jobs. So there's something to think about there. It's like, is it necessary for us to do that? Does it need to switch over? This is probably fine. On the Tranquil world, we're cranking out outrageous amounts of unity, which is perfect. On our Hunter world, in theory, it should be making us a lot of naval capacity. It's not working for some reason. I guess I gotta wait for more pops. We have another Crucible world over here. It's doing really well. We're quite happy with this one. Again, it has a slight deficit. Another Cogitation world. We will have to spend some resources to get this research up higher. Then in Malgigul, we've got another fully built Tranquil world. Probably could get another couple of communal biomes. And you know what? We will. This Tranquil world is we don't need to build any more stuff on it, basically. Similarly here, we could upgrade and adapt and improve these worlds, but I kind of want to focus on making sure that all of the specialized planets get what they need. It's going to cost me a lot of biomass to do this upgrading, but I think the biomass regrows relatively quickly. You definitely need another Singing Cliff, Habrak 3, and Mardom 3 is a planet that I have not specialized yet, and I could probably do with another Hunter world. Although it does have a think stem, so maybe it's best to make this a cogitation world, because I think technology is going to pay a lot of dividends here in terms of fighting our enemies. Now, we have unlocked a new technology. We got the energy siphon. We are in the process, I think, of cleaning up some of these things. I would love that naval capacity as well as the fleet command limit. The naval capacity, well, I'm gonna go for the fleet command limit. That'll allow, I think my economy can sustain being over, you know, supplied on ships for a little bit, but it cannot sustain being under strong enough to fight off our enemies. Whatever makes our army the strongest in the shortest time period is what we're going to focus on. We're moving in on the enemy capital world. The combat should begin soon. We should be engaging. Their fleets are still in really bad shape, and they don't have a particularly strong set of fortresses here. There we go. We're murking them. We're already making them flee. Huge. Now, Urzoria here does not have any garrison armies, so we're going to get this fleet to go ahead and land on it as soon as possible. We'll be able to take this pretty quick. There are still some fleets from our enemy in this system. Won't be too hard for us to fight this off. It's a lot of ships, but we have a lot of our own stacks in place here. So while it is a big ship, a big fleet, I don't suspect that we'll have any trouble beating it. And in fact, we annihilated them. We did take a couple of losses, but it's okay. Now, this starbase that we captured, we're going to want to convert this over to being a shipyard as soon as we can. Perfect. Goba belongs to me now. Let's get those shipyards up. The reason we want the shipyards on the front line is that they're going to provide us with the ability to reinforce on the fly. Now, Durban is next. We want to go capture Durban because that's where the next set of enemy fleets are hanging out. So if we can go hit them quickly, get quickly repaired, and then hit them hard. Goba belongs to me, or Urzoria now in the Goba system belongs to me. Now, the first thing we need to do is, well, we're purging the undesirables. That's ideal. We don't want to strip mine the planet, but we do want to do mastery of nature and expand the planet's size. Then we want to make sure that we get the cradles of rebirth because biomass is everything for us. So we're going to get 5 cradles of rebirth. And again, the biggest thing that I'm struggling with right now is naval capacity. So I'm going to get myself some command bulbs in here and make this into a battle world, a hunter world. My fleets are repaired. Let's go for Durban. We need to hit them. We need to hit them quickly before they can recuperate. We have detected a pretty dangerous enemy fleet. It's got a lot of combat power. I'm going to recruit a few more of these juvenile harbingers so that we can hopefully fight them off with carriers. I don't know if that's the right move, but it's what we're doing. We will lose some land here. That is to be expected. We're getting ready to engage in Durban. Now, if we can capture a couple of planets and get these guys to piece us out, we're in great shape. Let's go for the physics insight. That's a 10% physics boost. We can also get the genotype regeneration in the purity tree. This is going to allow us the assimilation of pops into pre-sapiens. I don't know what this means for us. These guys are not willing to do the status quo while we got a big old fleet. Our focus is on this front line. If we can make this work, then we're in good shape. It's going to take us way too long to switch our fleets over to this side, so our hope is to try and piece these guys out nice and quick. I'm going to create a new fleet of juvenile maulers, just a full stack of 60 to try and get as much mass into space as possible. And I'm going to create another one of those as well. We're just trying to get ships into the void. How's the battle going here? I think we're losing. Yeah, I've got even more armadas on the way. I mean, this is what happens when you're a devouring swarm and you get ganged up by many AI at all the same time. You're gonna have some trouble. Caught out another set of the enemy fleets. We're catching them on Adrenal. They got eviscerated. Perfect. All right, Gluggo needs its cradles of rebirth so that we can pump up our biomass. We're gonna need a couple of command bulbs in order to sustain the size of our fleets. To make sure we push the extra size of the planet. We also want to clear these blockers. It's gonna take some time. This needs to be a shipyard as well. The most important thing is that we convert existing materials into space weapons. This is an all or nothing war. There is no retreat. There is no coming back. There's plus 20 fleet command limit. Let's push these guys even higher on the Mauler side of things. Okay, society tech. What do we want next? Well, a reload jammer could be really useful, so let's research that now. I know there's danger inbound, let me tell you. All right, land these armies and see if we can't get our fleets somewhere useful. Closest planet's over here in Elnath. I'm gonna sell a decent amount of these energy credits that we have in stock. I'm going to look to buy some alloys, as that's what we are lacking to keep cranking our fleets out. Just going to add so many juvenile maulers to all my fleets, because again, what we need is to just get ships into space. We need to just get mass out there. Like, we're paying 131% upkeep on all of our fleets right now. We need mass, we need alloys, and we need mass. That's what we need. There's the reload jammer. We could get another reload jammer. We could get the spore launcher. We could get the mature harbinger. I think it's good if we get some new weaponry. Grab those gloom spores. We've got an enemy fleet here. I think I'm en route to intercept this. Whatever's going on over here, we're accepting this. This brand new world here, we need to make the planet bigger. We need to get these mining complexes up. We need you to crank out some biomass. We'll get the cradles of rebirth up here. We're just cranking, trying to convert everything. This is like the Endgame war right here. This is it, man. Keep gathering intel. You guys are nowhere near ready to piece me out, but that's okay. We are in the middle of a battle. I think we're about to fight these guys. They're about to have a really bad day. Yep, they are. Tech-wise, we just finished plasma stellar motor organs. Anything that'll help me fight. Storm Relief Center, Nebula Refinery, Grub Symbionts. I mean, alloy output is useful here, I think. We'll take that. 28 months is a long-ass time for a tech that won't immediately help me fight. But fine. Dyson Swarms, I don't think that's going to help me either. I will grab the basic bioplasma thrower. Awesome. Yeah, we're winning battles. All right, there's Gloom Spores. Naval capacity means we'll pay. Ooh, civic slots. That's going to be amazing. That civic slot will allow us to open up some real potential to maximize our empire. Our enemies are splitting up. Now, this could be a moment for us to strike back. Should I recruit some commanders is the question. I mean, it will significantly increase the combat capabilities of these, and I'm only going over by one. Let's try to get these fleets to link up. These guys have gone into a cul-de-sac, which means we could catch them off guard. One of our planets was invaded. That's understandable. Not a huge amount we can do about that. We're in combat in Inthor. We're getting ready to invade Elnath. That's our next objective. Let's get in there. Let me check. Elnath, do you have defense armies? No, this guy's great. He loves not running defense armies, which makes me very, very happy. You know what I do need? I need some new defense armies to send over on this tier, because we've got like an army here. Bit of bad management on my part for the war effort. I'm worried about this army here. Maybe we could go catch them off guard. Maybe we can upgrade this guy. The starbase got one hell of a war going on. I'm not fighting on multiple fronts. I'm fighting on every front. Every system that connects to a civilization that is not mine is a battlefield right now. Okay, come on. We gotta go invade Brig. Or Vig. We could catch this fleet in Akmal off guard. Alright, we're gonna catch these guys again. Lovely. I don't know if we're managing to get any kills, but it's fine. Hoping we can catch this 2K fleet and get a few kills off them. We've managed to capture Elnath. Let's get our cradles of rebirth going. We need that biomass. Everything is about the biomass now. All right, let's build these garrisons on these newly built command bulbs. These are going to give us an important amount of field capacity for military. We'll bring our upkeep down because we are paying an outrageous 400 alloys per month. I'm going to replenish and retreat these fleets. We've got big fleets potentially coming into Bombala here. Let's go to our ship designer. What kind of defense platform do we have? I suppose we could go hangars, or we could go point defense. Well, we'll leave it as is. It's fine. Let's make sure we upgrade them. We've got an enemy fleet in Charna, and we need to intercept them. So I'm trying to get my my fleets to head in this direction. Now, where are they heading? They look like they're heading west to Althuna. We've captured some great territory over here, so if we could get these guys to agree to a chill out, it would be amazing. Yeah, they're invading Mardum. They've already dropped their ground armies on it. Nothing we can do about that. That's life. Unfortunate reality. Now, we do want to protect our capital world. That's going to be important. The galaxy is trying to contain us, and it is working so far. We could maybe get a clap back here if we jump into Ulrike. I think we will go for that clap back. It's a chance to strike back while the enemy fleets are disorganized. It might pull some of their forces around the corner, causing them to reassess the situation. Don't let them escape. You got to catch enemy fleets and put them into combat. Perfect. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. Don't let them get away with it. Oh, that's a big fleet coming in, potentially to counterattack. I think I can take that. I don't know, actually. We might not be able to take that. Let's get back to Bombala. At the very least, we kick the fleet around, which will buy us more time. And we're fighting out over here on the western front. Good, good, good. I think this is this a Federation army or something? Well, whatever it is, we just kicked its ass. Then we'll go take on Althuna and see if we can press this way. A little bit worried about this and this. There's so many fleets coming my way. Oh shit, how did you guys get here? They're counterattacking me. And I don't know how they got here. That's really bad. We need to stop that. This is bad here too. It's all bad. It's all really bad. Minus 41 on peace, minus 60 on peace. The people who I'm kicking around are less likely to peace out, which is kind of crazy, honestly. I don't think peacing out is our way out of this. Just gonna be keeping it rizzle with you guys. I don't know if that's going to work. Okay, we got another molt gut in here. We need smelting pools. Our upkeep is becoming outrageous and we're not producing enough minerals to replace. This should be like, what, 6 tamer symbiont jobs? Why are we only getting like 2 of them? I don't understand. Does anyone understand this? Why we're only getting like +2 planetary naval capacity or whatever? Where's my naval capacity? Oh, it's down here. Here we go. +59. That's a little bit more acceptable. Oh, sweet Christ. That's a 10k stack. That's a 10k stack. And I don't know if we're going to win this fight over here. I mean, I'm hoping we do, but it's possible we don't. Yeah, there's a forged symbiont output +10%. That will help us with the alloys. Quill batteries could maybe be useful, as could bio swarmer missiles. Grab those quill batteries and see what we can do. Oh boy. We're in a... I mean, I haven't even taken the become the crisis thing, and they're treating me like I'm the crisis. I mean, I guess I am a devouring swarm, you know, like, I appreciate that the AI is treating me with the respect that I deserve, and the fact that I am an existential crisis for the galaxy. Making our way to another planet here, Siuhiri. New tech, bioplasma thrower, awesome. Advanced research enclosure. That would actually be pretty sick, making our research planets more efficient. Might be good for us to get new weaponry though, I think, or better sensors. That means our ships will miss less. That seems pretty good, honestly. More accurate ships means better DPS. Oh yes, we caught the enemy fleets. Dude, once we take a Nif here, if we hit Suhiri, I think we're like on the verge of essentially killing the Union of Azoria. What do they got left? Like 4 planets? One over here, one here, maybe one here. I don't even see those. 1, 2. They might have 2 in a single system or something, or maybe Redamon has a planet. All right, I'm going through whatever planets I have left to see if I need to make some changes. I do think it would be good if we upgraded this. We are at our food capacity, so we don't need to get food for like very quickly. We're not in a rush to get it. I think we just chill a bit. We have engaged the enemy in what I think is one of their final systems. They have already warped out and died, and now we're taking on their military station. We finished invading Glugak. We're going to get this planet up and running with Cradles of Rebirth, replenishing the Horde, terraform it to a Savannah world as well, clear the blockers, make sure we do the Mastery of Nature, increase the size and quality of it. We actually need to check. Some of these planets will not have started the terraforming process, nor have I done Mastery of Nature on some of them, so that is... It's important that we get them terraforming because the long-term quality of these worlds is actually dependent upon that. All right, looking through the list, everything's looking okay. Where are you, Habrak? You're nestled pretty safely here, so let me tell you, why don't you go ahead and get yourself a commensal clearing. All right, otherwise, I think most of my planets are maxed out. Magsoth here definitely needs its command garrisons, as does Vig. We are spending a lot of biomass. So we're down to a very low amount of biomass, which is gonna be a problem, but I think more or less we've done what we needed to in our planets, although Glugash needs its specializations. I mean, I think the sheer amount of upkeep we're paying for ships right now, I think naval capacity just becomes so useful for us in saving us resources that we're spending 2,000 food a month on ships, like that's huge. Yeah, they're floating around here looking for an inn. Buy some more alloys. Buy a little and just hit that reinforce button and try to get as many fleets out. We can invade Gluggerug. They don't have armies defending it, so that means we can move. on. I don't even know if I'm at war with these guys. Who are you? Am I at war with you? No. Well, it's useful to know. Galogrug over here. Wow, their planet names are awesome. Shoot, it looks like they actually have defenders above that world, so I'm gonna need to bombard it for a bit before we invade it. I'm really proud of the fact that I've been able to mount a defensive wall over here on the east while we basically win the war in the west. Let's have a look at the situation log on the victory stance. We are currently the 7th most powerful empire in the entire world, and probably the only thing more powerful than us, considering we're twice the power of the Immortals Combine, are going to be those fallen empires. So I wouldn't say that we've achieved the zenith or the peak of our capabilities, but we're definitely scary as hell. I'm going to shift over a couple of fleets to Bunda here because they're massing up on the border with Bunda. I'm getting nervous. Glugrug has been invaded, right? Have a look. Successful invasion complete. The hell do we want this planet to be? I think we just need so many of these command bulbs, man. These cradles of rebirth too. I don't even know how much biomass I make per month because months go by so slow now. Yeah, our planet's being invaded. We're about to lose Dabe. Now, thankfully, this was a cognition world, which does hurt our science, but which will hurt our combat capability in the long term. But in the short term, it doesn't do too much to us. And we're negative 300 food per month, but that's okay because we just finished the purity ambitions. This is going to give us advanced pop-altering organic species traits can be added or removed with species modifications and advanced organics. All this great stuff for us. Highly important here is buildings and districts now provide 3% building and decision enactment speed. So we can just, and all things are uncapped. So we can, I believe, in theory, just go crazy. And most importantly, we're going to go ahead and activate Behemoth Fury so that we can progress to becoming the Crisis. We're going to be the apex predators of the stars. That's going to activate the Crisis screen in here. Now, at the level 1, we get access to the accumulation of feral insights. We get feral insights by building biological ships, by destroying biological ships, killing space fauna, growing behemoth eggs, birthing behemoths, and having behemoth's rage. We also get access to the behemoth egg megastructure. We get extra society research for every 100 farmers we have. And we get a huge food storage capacity boost. So we are now a concern, a galactic concern. See that? I bet you're, whoa, what is going on here? I think something has gone a little widdly wonky on the display of this planet. I might just save and reload real quick. Okay, I think I may have discovered a limitation of my current computer because my computer is slowly dying. I've sat here about 5 minutes trying to get the game to load. And I broke it. So, yeah, successfully broke my computer playing Stellaris. I hope you guys had fun. It took about like 8 hours to record, so I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!